Today is more than a dream come true for the people of Rockingham. The newspaper said it best with a headline reading, "NASCAR is really back." The community has waited 8 long years, which is cause for celebration. Locals and fans don't have to contain their excitement anymore. Rockingham has regained its identity, and the next chapter begins now with the Camping World Truck Series. You're looking live at Rockingham Speedway, a historic track which opened in 1965. The 1 mile oval held its last cup race here in 2004, and today the trucks will race here for the very first time. The field? Well, it's a mix of drivers, veterans who have been a part of the track's history, and others are rookies who will play a part in its future. Hello, race fans. Thanks so much for joining us on this historic moment here on Speed. I'm Danielle Trotta, filling in for Chris Devoda, and the setup has you ready to rock. Did you know that Rockingham Speedway has done something that's only happened 2 other times in NASCAR history? And that is getting their date added back to the NASCAR schedule once it's been taken off. That's no easy feat. The community deserves a lot of that credit, and so does track owner Andy Hillenberg. He bought this track in 2007 and has spent the last 4.5 years getting it back to its beautiful condition that it stands in today. He said he just could not let Rockingham fade into a distant memory. We'll take a look at some of those memories coming up on the setup in the next half hour. We'll show you what makes Rockingham so special. And 2 drivers that have a score to settle at the Rock today. We're talking about Parker Kligerman and Justin Lofton. They had a battle here for the ARCA Championship back in 2009. What happens in round 2? Stay tuned for that. But now it is 2012, the first time ever the trucks are racing at Rockingham. So what are the keys to winning this race? For answers, we go to Ray Dunlap and Hermie Sadler, who are standing by on pit road. Hermie, what you got?
Well, Danielle, if Casey Kane is going to win this race today, the key is going to be finding a way to get to the front. Casey Kane made the trip over from Texas Motor Speedway last night, where he finished 7th in the Sprint Cup Series race. Now, when Casey Kane runs in the Truck Series, you got to figure he's going to be a part of the finish. He's run 4 races. He's won 3. But to get the job done today, it's going to take all of his experience and tire management to make his way to the front. Also, David Bruderman is here. He will start in the back. So it'll be a lot of fun, Ray Dunlap, to watch these 2 Cup veterans try to start in the back and make their way to the front at the Rock.
And Hermie, I think the key to winning today is going to be tire management. This is a 200-lap race, so what would the perfect strategy be? Well, how about run 40 laps every time? 40, 40, 40, and 40, right? Well, that puts you on the track pretty long right here. So I think this is plan B for the crew chiefs today. Try to extend these first couple of runs out a little bit further. You would really love to have a 15 or maybe even a 10-lap run at the end. Now, here's the ultimate question. What happens if the caution comes out on lap 25? Well, you know what you do then? You get yourself a whole new game plan, Danielle.
Yeah, Ray, they don't have a marker board and they don't have a very thick playbook, do they? This is the first time the trucks have raced at Rockingham. You just got to roll the dice and see how it all shakes out. We're shaking things up next on the setup with a veteran that's raced here before, Jason Lepler. See how he's been rocking out so far this weekend, and we'll show you NASCAR's history at the Rock. What makes racing in the Sandhills so special? We asked the people that paved the way.
A start, a finish, a line drawn in sand. But at Rockingham, this line is drawn in asphalt. This was once where the Atlantic's waves lapped its sand toward the Appalachian foothills. Centuries later, that sand hardened, carving its character into the rock. For decades, the Rock, with its chiseled resolve, withstood the battering of a torrent of iron-handed drivers and stood against the weathering of heated battles. Then, the track went quiet. Yet, the flowing hourglass has only solidified this track as a keystone in racing's landscape. The elemental makeup of this mineral mile forged a lasting monument. As gritty and stoic as ever, the Rock remains.
The setup is brought to you by Camping World and Good Sam. Everything for the RV lifestyle, including RVs, accessories, warranties, insurance, and roadside assistance. And by Sleepin'. Dream better here. Book now at sleepin.com.
The green is in the air and the Subway 400 is underway.
Stand behind you, stand behind you. Close out, close out. All clear, clear all the way.
Stetson with a hornet's nest in the rear view mirror, but a car length in hand over Casey Kane and Jamie McMurray. Kane is on the move, going for the win at Rockingham.
And the line by inches is Matt Kenseth. 1/100th of a second.
Matt Kenseth winning the last Cup race here in 2004, but the history at Rockingham beginning long before that. Rockingham Speedway opened in 1965, and when people in this community living here began to come in and see racing, well, they raised their families and generations on NASCAR racing. So what happens when that racing disappears, and how do they feel about NASCAR racing coming back now? Let's take a look at Rockingham Speedway's history.
The races going away was a gradual development, sort of like the textile mills, gradually moving out. Like when someone is ill, you know they're going to die, and they do, but still you're just not really prepared for it.
People understood the reality, but people always were sort of begrudging about losing the races because we always felt like we were part of the fabric of the history of the sport.
Losing NASCAR races at Rockingham was a cruel blow for the people of Richmond County. Their love affair with the track had begun when it opened in 1965.
I remember the first time coming out here, and it looked like one of the 7 wonders of the world coming up out of the sand hills.
I remember being in high school, my buddies and I decided we wanted to come to see this track because we knew they were doing some of the pre-race testing here. So we sneaked away from school to come here to watch that testing, and the next day the principal calls me and wanted to know why I was out of school, and I couldn't lie, I had to tell him.
The attitude was established early on at this racetrack in the 60s when they came up with the logo North Carolina Motor Speedway, where the fan is always first.
It's a folksy kind of atmosphere here. People, you know, they seem to be more relaxed, they seem to be friendlier. It's just like a kind of a buddy-buddy atmosphere more than a lot of tracks you go to.
The people that owned it was local. All of us knew them and we supported them, and the track supported the county and put a lot of money in the county. For years, they'd let you come out here with your personal car and just ride all you wanted to.
There's a lot of community pride here. This racetrack is what puts Richmond County and the city of Rockingham on the international stage.
You were from Richmond County. Well, where's Richmond County? But you could go anywhere in the United States and you tell them you're from Rockingham, and they'd say, oh, the racetrack.
Despite its pedigree, the track sat dormant for 4 years until Andy Hillenberg bought the Speedway in 2007, fueling hopes of a comeback. The announcement last year that NASCAR was returning to Rockingham fortified the resurgence of the legendary track.
This Speedway has been a constant presence in this community. Come April 15th, my friends, 2012, all of our memories are going to be rekindled, and we're going to start all over right here at the Rock.
It's like a big homecoming. And everybody I've talked to seems to think the same thing. You know, they're all in favor of it and they're all for it.
When you lose something and then get a part of it back, it's just a tremendous feeling.
A lot of race fans, I'm sure that they're thinking, you know, maybe this is the beginning of a trend. You know, maybe that more will return to the tracks that we lost. People tend to circle back where they started. And I think I'm one of those.
So many people had written this track off. It was deserted. people had pretty much given up on it, and it was just a memory. And being a part, just a small part of bringing this back, it's a great feeling.
I look at it, and it's rebirth. It has a new meaning here. It's got a new reason for being. Rockingham has a place in NASCAR's history and in its present.
And today, the future begins. Halloween 1965 is when the gates opened as a 1-mile flat track with flat turns. In 1969, it was reconfigured with high banks. There have been 78 Cup races here. Richard Petty has 11 Cup victories, but Mark Martin holds the record with 13 total NASCAR wins at the Rock. This track was closed from 2004 until 2007 when Andy Hillenburg purchased it at an auction. The price, $4.4 million. Andy Hillenburg said earlier this week on NASCAR Race Hub that this track is like an old comfortable pair of shoes, the kind you like to wear to Sunday dinner. What Andy and this community here in Richmond County have done are give some of these people in the stands the comforts of home. And we hope you guys are at home watching. You're about to see a great show. It's time now to turn our speed spotlight on Jason Leffler, a 36-year-old NASCAR veteran who's competed in all of NASCAR's top 3 series. But for the first time this year, he's racing a majority truck schedule for Kyle Busch Motorsports. Take a look at how Jason's rocked out here in Rockingham so far this weekend.
All clear. Come on, bud. Come on.
Front end is not, it's not working there. Like really numb off the wall, down in the corner. I got a baby again in the corner. It just slides like, right, nothing like it. It's way tighter, way number than it was any time during the tire test.
Who's on the pole there? PK is right now at 24.93. Some of the guys I think are just over driving. They'll run decent laps through 1 and 2, and then they overdrive 3 and 4, get up the racetrack. He did a little bit. He had a pretty good 1 and 2, but he was up the racetrack a little bit down, late around the corner, like you just couldn't turn it. So, see what you got. First lap's pretty much the one that's been the best for everybody. I think only a couple trucks have been faster on their second.
Jason Leffler has 5 nationwide starts and 2 Cup races right here at Rockingham, and you were part of the tire test. So does any of that make a difference in making a shot for the 18 to get a win today?
Oh yeah, the Goodyear tire test was good to get those many laps. I think we did over 500 miles. So Dollar General Toyota M&M's Flexco truck is really good. I thank everybody at KBM for working hard. Track threw us for a little loop when we unloaded. We were tighter than we expected. So we've been working on it ever since then, or the guys have, and look forward to having a good race today.
And Danielle, interesting. We've had a little bit of cloud cover this morning, but they're expecting great sunshine throughout the race this afternoon.
Yeah, Ray, track conditions today much different than they were on qualifying yesterday. Should make for an interesting 200-mile race. Coming up on the setup, we'll show you Parker Kligerman and Justin Lofton's 2009 ARCA battle for the title and why the dust still hasn't settled. Plus, we show you how the truck's reigning champ and his little brother are hunting for more than just wins. You're watching the setup live on Speed. Welcome back to the setup. For the first time in NASCAR Camping World Truck Series history, one driver will walk away with that trophy. The first ever truck race here at the Rock. First time NASCAR's been here in 8 years. Thank you so much for joining us. We're about to talk about round 2 for 2 drivers featured in today's race in Parker Kligerman and Justin Lofton. Sure, they're truck veterans now, but they battled here down to the last lap for the 2009 ARCA Championship. Take a look.
We both kind of entered in there knowing that it was going to take winning the race to be able to win that championship. I mean, we were tied going into that race, and it was going to be an all-out battle of who was going to beat who at the end of the day. I was here to win a race, and I was here, actually, more to win a race, I was here to beat Parker. It was here to beat Parker because that's what was fun about it all.
These 2 young drivers have really battled from the time we started till we get here to Rockingham for race number 21.
I was never told where I was the entire day to you. I was never told points. You had to pass this person, this person. I mean, the last wasn't the same for me.
I think I had a calculator in my car with me the whole time.
No, but I was watching that scoreboard. It only has 5 numbers on it, and I saw that 6 pop up in 5th, 4th, and I was like, I know if he hits top 3, we're done. You know, there's nothing I can do here.
Right now, Parker Kligerman has led the most laps, so he got that 5 additional points.
If Lofton can hang on to this third-place finish, he will win the championship in 2009.
If that car right there, Clay Rogers, gets by Justin Lofton, that will put Justin Lofton, Parker Kligerman into a tie again. That means the championship would be Parker Kligerman's.
No one told me where we set points-wise.
How about Clay Rogers? He's closed the gap again on the 6th. Now he's battling for 3rd.
3 pits separate the 6 of Lofton from the 54 of Clay Rogers. Crew chief and owner for Justin Lofton saying, do not pass him. The 54 has now laid off. That is huge.
Clay actually called me up the next day and said, you're going to hear all this stuff, and nothing was ever radioed to me about it. I don't see him as a person ever backing off, you know, to let someone buy or anything. So I'll side with you in the fact that you were probably going to find a way by him no matter what. The thing is I was catching the 2nd place car. Everyone saw what I tried to do on the last lap and getting around him and almost throwing the championship away to do it.
Battle for 2nd, side by side. Justin Lofton's trying to go for 2nd.
Oh, contact's made! He's sliding sideways is Justin Lofton. Can he hang on to it? That's for the championship.
The entire year it was myself and Parker, or Parker and myself, and it was 1-2 the entire time, and I didn't want the last race to go with someone in between us.
Out of turn 4, Parker Kligerman wins the race. Can he win the championship?
As I crossed the line, I thought I'd won the championship, but sadly, this guy over here decided to finish 3rd.
No! Justin Lofton will be your 2009 ARCA RE/MAX Series champion.
If we made up a story that said a guy's going to come get 9 wins, lead the most laps of the last race of the year, and lose by 5 points, nobody'd ever believe it.
For myself and my career, that year in general, between the 2 of us and the amount of fanfare and eyes it brought to that series, that was big, and just for our careers in general. There'll be a Justin and Parker show again. Hopefully, yeah. And whether it's for championships or race wins, it's still going to be, and it might be in a truck, it might be in a cup car, it might be, who knows what it's going to be, but it's going to be somewhere.
They're a little older, a little wiser, and their trucks have a little more horsepower than those ARCA cars, to the tune of 200 horses. Justin starts 19th. Parker rolls off 6th today. Still to come on the setup, we'll show you what Austin and Ty Dillon do when the fire suits come off and the camo goes on. And the guys make their fantasy picks. The Rock is no easy place to get around, but our team thinks they have it figured out. And why is Rick Allen's head so sticky? We'll explain next. The setup is brought to you by Scion, making vehicles for today's connected youth. Learn more at scion.com. Scion, what moves you? A lot of moving festivities today at Rockingham. The fans on their feet cheering for some paratroopers as they enter Rockingham Speedway. That means it's almost time to go racing. But first, another story on series driver Ty Dillon and why Rockingham is so special to him. Few reasons. One, he's won an ARCA race here before, and two, he grew up coming to this track with his pawpaw, Richard Childress. Some quality family time there, and now Ty's sharing a family pastime with us. It's time to go hunting with Ty and his brother Austin, who just happens to be our series reigning champion.
We're getting ready to take Jake out as my Chesapeake Bay Retriever and do a little practice run before we go to Montana to do a little more extensive bird hunting. Jake, he's gotten experience, but it's good to come out here and let him have a run at it. And Ty's got a puppy out here we're going to take out for the first time also. So he'll just be cutting through these rows, with his head down with the wind in the right direction, and he'll be flushing up the birds. So when he gets to them, he'll be on them, and he'll kind of get them to get up out of the air. And that's his job, is to find them and flush them out of there. And then he'll retrieve too, so he does a good job. Oh, shoot it, Ty.
You got that one.
There's one.
I wanted to get a little higher. He was a little closer there.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is my puppy. He's 1 year old. He's a big dog, but this is his first time doing this, so he's got to learn a little bit, but he's a good dog, and I'm sure he'll do good. See if we can take his rookie stripes off.
All these dogs out here, I mean, you can't teach them this kind of stuff. They have to learn it themselves, and The discipline, Michael, he does a great job of making sure they're disciplined and do the right thing, but they have to know the scent and following the scent and trying to get on the birds is their job. So it's something they're born with, I guess you could say. He's already getting loosened up. See, he's learning because he kind of sticking real close to us. Now he's kind of getting out and doing his own thing.
Find him, birds, White.
Find him, White. Find him.
That's a good boy. Good.
Go get him.
Good boy. Good.
Go get him. That was an awesome job for Wyatt to get him that quick. He's doing awesome for his first time. He's a natural, what can I say?
Boy, Wyatt.
That's called the Dylan Smackdown
Dylan
right there.
double right there.
Boy, Wyatt, here. Here.
Good boy, Wyatt. Good boy. That's exactly what he wanted to do.
It's really exciting when you get to see your dog get excited about going hunting. And Wyatt did an awesome job on his first time today, so really proud of him. And I think he'll be ready to go out in Montana.
Yeah, we'll take him to the big leagues here shortly.
We'll tell someone take a shot on Ty Dillon today. Let's check our fantasy standings. Time to make a pick, and we need some separation here because it's a 6-way tie. We're starting a new tradition here on the setup. Whichever guy or gal picks the driver with the highest finishing position gets their face on this helmet. You see the handsome Hermie Sadler right here because he won at Daytona. And it's time to add the winner for Martinsville. I'll add Rick Allen's face right there. That's why earlier I said he was so sticky. Who will get their face on the helmet after today at Rockingham? Let's find out the picks. Hermie, you're up first.
Well, Danielle, I think when it comes to winning Rockingham, I think experience is going to play a big role in that. Todd Bodine is a two-time winner here in the Nationwide Series. I say Todd Bodine. Mikey?
I think Joey Coulter, Hermie. He's got 27 truck starts, 13 times he's finished inside the top 10. He knows what he's doing. I think he gets that win today. Ray, what do you think?
Boy, Michael, I had a very hard time figuring this one out. Casey Kane's won 3 of the 4 races he's been in and finished second in the other one. Come on! Casey Kane, the 4 goes to victory lane, Phil.
Ray, Ty Dillon's only one of 3 former winners at this racetrack in the field. He won the ARCA race 2010. He's going to be my pick to win this race today, that 20-year-old. And through the magic of social media, Chris DeVota tweeted her pick, and that's going to be Parker Kligerman, another one of our winners here. And how about you, Sticky Face?
Oh, Sticky Face. How about winner after picking Harvick at Martinsville? I'm going to go with another winner. I think it's going to be Timothy Peters, who spent quite a bit of time here tire testing, that will go to victory lane today at the Rock. Danielle?
Well, Sticky Face, I'm going with the veteran Johnny Sauter. He has 7 NASCAR starts here at the Rock, 3 top 10s. Almost time to go racing. A special day for the fans, drivers, and you at home. The Good Sam Roadside Assistance 200 starts now.
Peekaboo, we see you. Hey, look who's returned to the Rock. Okay, maybe not as legendary as General MacArthur's return to the shores of the Philippines, but right here, right now, the toughest truck drivers in the land return to the tarmac of the Rock, and they're ready to roll.
We are warriors. We are gladiators.
We trade paint
and crush metal. We never back down from a fight.
They are going to fight it out.
We are the roughest, toughest truckers on the planet.
We are the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series.
And we race on speed.
The Good Sam 200 presented on speed by Ram. The weather, well, it is beautiful. 73 degrees, not too hot, not too cold. It's been a mix of sun and clouds all day. The first time NASCAR has raced here at Rockingham since 2004. The first time ever for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. You'll see Nelson Piquet Jr. on the pole, his first ever in the Truck Series. Drivers say this track is still typical Rockingham. It's old, it's bumpy, and has 3 or 4 grooves, lots of side-by-side racing. We hope you enjoy it all live on speed. Now let's go down to the podium for the presentation of the colors.
Please rise and remove your hats for the presentation of colors by the United States Special Operations Command Joint Services Color Guard.
Let us pray. Thank you, Lord, for this historic day here at Rockingham. We're thankful, Lord, for those in the military services who have given themselves for our protection and our freedom. We pray that you continually protect them. Lord, we thank you for all the people who've prayed and worked hard for the restoration of the Rock. We pray now for protection for each driver and each person here. Lord, we pray this prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome for our national anthem, Here's Little Texas.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Fans are ready to see some racing back at the Rock. When we come back, Rick Allen, Phil Parsons, and Michael Waltrip have the call. It's the Good Sam 200 next, live on Speed.
The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series is presented on Speed by Ram Trucks. Guts, Glory, Ram. Brought to you in part by Honda Generators, the power of choice. And by Camping World and Good Sam. Everything for the RV lifestyle, including RVs, accessories, warranties, insurance, and roadside assistance. Rockingham Speedway, located very close to Pinehurst, where the U.S. Open is played, as well as just across the street, Rockingham Dragway. But it is the Rock right here in Rockingham, North Carolina, that has made so many amazing historic races be a part of the NASCAR thread that makes up that fabric. The two undercards are done. Those took place in Texas this weekend. It's time for the main event. NASCAR is back at the Rock. What will it take to win at Rockingham? Everyone is using the word experience. Hello, everyone. Rick Allen, Phil Parsons, Michael Waltrip with you once again as we come to the historic Rock. And this is a great place to come. This is the main event, though, Michael.
Man, I just think of history when I think of Rockingham. Benny Parsons, your brother, we're standing in his tower right now, winning the championship here in '73 by rebuilding his whole car. Dale Earnhardt clinching championships. And it's back. The fans have responded. We wanted to fill the Rock. They've filled it. This is a great feeling today here.
You know, talk about experience. Michael, you raced here a lot as well as I did. This is an old, slick, abrasive, bumpy racetrack. And this it's incredible the amount of experience I think you need here. You don't have very many rookies win at this racetrack. We've got 3 former winners in this field, along with Casey Kane, who came oh so close in the last Cup race. Take a look at our Camping World track description. You see the turns 1 and 2, 22 degrees, 3 and 4, 25 degrees. And our pit window is going to be somewhere between 75 and 80 laps, and I think you'll have to send the drivers to therapy if they have to stay out 75 or 80 laps on tires at this racetrack. And you know what that sums up to? Perfect.
Yeah,
absolutely perfect.
Drivers love bumpy, they love slick, and they love abrasive. They're going to love today.
Well, we hope the fans love it as well. It's time to get the engines fired, and now for that command.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, for this historic occasion, as we welcome NASCAR back to the Rock, to give our command to start engines, welcome Rockingham Speedway President Andy Hillenberg.
Drivers, start your engines!
41 trucks attempted to qualify for this race. Qualifying took place yesterday. We have narrowed it down to the 36 starting positions. And let's take a look at that starting grid. Nelson Piquet Jr. will grab his first career pole in the Camping World Truck Series, and rookie Polly Haraka will start on his outside. Parker Kligerman, Matt Crafton, Todd Bodine. A lot of experience here. 2 nationwide wins at this very racetrack. Will experience pay off for him.
How about Johnny Sauter? Oh, so close to a championship last year. Could this be his year?
Young Ty Dillon has won at this racetrack after winning the championship his final year in ARCA.
Cale Gale, a little bit of Pro Cup experience here last year.
David Rudeman, an experienced driver making the way from Texas to here. He was able to make that trip. He'll jump into the 92, but will have to go to the back of the field for his starting spot.
How about the experience back in row number 11 with David Starr and 4-time champion Ron Hornaday?
Nelson Piquet Jr.'s teammate Miguel Paludo starts back in row 12, and our Daytona winner John King in row 13.
Jeff Burton's here back in row number 14. His dad Ward won in the Cup Series and the Nationwide Series here.
Ryan Silas, Ryan Sieg making up row 16 as we get further back in the field. Rounding out the field as you see the officials making their way back onto pit road. The truck's about to roll around the Rock. The first time for the Camping World Truck Series at Rockingham Speedway. Stay right here. Green flag's coming up next. Welcome back to Rockingham Speedway. The Good Sam Roadside Assistance 200 presented by Ram about to get underway. They say here at Rockingham, if you roll through the garage, you have scraped the good off of your tires. And they've already taken about 2 pace laps. We're going to ride along with a few different drivers.
There's Jason White in the Gunbroker.com Ford. He's going to start 26th, head to the front of Oaks.
We're also going to ride along with Ty Dillon, the Bass Pro Shop Chevy. He will start from the 12th spot.
This is a truck that's going to be fun to be inside of, Phil. Casey Kane, he's going to go all the way to the back of the field. In 2004, he came within a foot of winning here at Rockingham. Can he get it today?
We're also going to ride along with Jason Loeffler right there in the Dollar General Toyota. He will start from the 4th spot. You mentioned Casey Kane. Let's see what time Casey Kane's mine right now. Hey, Casey Kane, Phil Parsons up in the speed booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy.
Casey, what was it when you saw Rockingham Speedway on the Truck Series schedule that said, hey, I'm going to make that trip from Texas? What made you do that?
Well, it's just an exciting place. I've always really liked racing here, and it's pretty cool that Andy Hillenberg got it going again. And to run a truck here is perfect. We're not racing this weekend. We're not racing today. We had a couple good nights in Texas, and hopefully we can have a good, strong race today.
Casey, your Truck Series schedule, your record isn't very good. You've only won 3 times in 4 starts, so hopefully you can do a little bit better today, okay?
All right, we'll try. We'll see what we can do here. Should be a fun race. Thanks.
All right, thanks for the effort for being here.
Let's take a look at our Royal Purple race analysis from this 1-mile racetrack. 36 trucks will start.
Pit window 75 to 85 laps. Can I have tires that lap 25 every time, please?
Please.
They're going to be slipping and sliding. That's what makes this place so much fun. You can run low, you can run high, and you're going to need tires every chance you get.
Speaking of tires, the guys who right down there in the thick of it, Hermie and Ray on pit road. Let's go to Ray.
Well, Rick, I want to answer the big question of when will Turner Motorsports get their first victory in the Camping World Truck Series, and I think the answer is today. Obviously, with Kasey Kahne in the field, it could certainly play to their advantage. As Phil said, his record has been absolutely stellar here. But I also think that James Buescher has a really good shot at getting his first win. He's finished second 3 times in this division, and Miguel Paludo and also Nelson Piquet, both of those 2 drivers really showing their stuff. A 4-truck team today, and I think they get their first win. Hermie?
Well, Ray, when you're watching at home today, think about tires. The original plan was to have the tires on the trucks to start the race. Came yesterday afternoon and said, we're giving the teams 1 additional set of sticker tires they can get after lap 100. That means they've got 4 sets of stickers here in the pits. It's how you manage those tires that could predict whether or not you make it to victory lane.
Thanks, Hermie. Our pole winner, Nelson Piquet Jr., chooses the outside. Good decision to start this race on the high side?
I think so. You talk about taking care of your tires. You get pinned down on the bottom underneath another truck for a couple laps, they can go away that quick, Phil. If you run up higher, maybe it takes a little bit of pressure off those right side tires. I believe this is a good move for Nelson.
You can jump out there and run really, really fast, and you're going to pay for it at the end of your run. You have to manage those tires from lap 1 on.
You said the word experience earlier in the broadcast, how important experience is, not only for the driver, but these crew chiefs have to, I guess, give a calming feel to their drivers. Don't go out there and burn those tires up in the first few laps.
This is the one place, Michael, I think that these guys don't necessarily want to go as hard as they go every lap. They have to manage that.
We saw in the Cup race last night, Greg Biffle said, I'm going to let Jimmy Johnson wear his stuff out and I'll go get him. That's exactly how it turned out. That could be the strategy that gets you to victory lane today here in Rockingham as well.
We are about to find out. The lights are off on the pace truck. It'll make a hard left turn onto pit road. The field will now be in the hands of Nelson Piquet Jr. and Polly Haraka, bringing the Camping World Truck Series to the green flag for the first ever time, and throwing that green flag is Donnie Allison in the flag stand. He is our honorary starter. We're underway at the Rock. A great start for Nelson Piquet Jr. on the high side. He goes right to the bottom of the racetrack as they exit turn 2.
Good side-by-side battle for third as the fireworks go off here at Rockingham. Parker Kligerman from the outside trying to take third from Paulie Haraka.
3 wide already as they come through 3 and 4. Battling for that 4th spot. Moving up, it's Nelson Piquet Jr., Paulie Haraka. Lepler's up there. Kligerman, Peters, your top 5.
Took Paulie a lap or 2 to get going, but now he's up to speed here. Drives out in front of Kligerman in that battle for third.
Max Gresham dove down into turn 3 the first time. I'm about to spun that truck out. This is so cool, though, watching these trucks use all the different lanes of this racetrack early in the going. Usually for 10 or 12 laps, you think a guy's running right around the bottom. Not here at the Rock.
4 practice sessions on Friday and then Saturday, and throughout all 4 of those practice sessions, the sun was beating down on this racetrack. So the overcast skies may have thrown a little bit of a question mark into some of these crew chiefs' minds, but now the sun has come back out again.
But it's still Rockingham, and if it was 25 degrees and snowing, this racetrack would still be abrasive and slick.
It'd be real slick.
2 wide, 3 wide. Now they're single file as they go down the front stretch, still following Nelson Piquet Jr. But here comes the 18 of Jason Lepler. Another truck on the move, Ty Dillon. We ride along with him.
And check out how rough this place is, Phil. Look at that truck on the inside. He's just bouncing all over the place. And there goes Ty Dillon. He said it doesn't look
trouble on the
Smoker. The 7 of John King into the wall, the inside wall, as they were going down the backstretch. Thunder Alley here at the Rock. And a lot of damage to our point leader, John King.
Yeah, that may not be terminal, but it's going to be close to that.
One Daytona to start the season, had a solid run at Martinsville, retained that point lead, but an early setback today.
Most of the drivers, Michael, were talking about that how tight it was off of turn number 2. Let's see if we can take a look at what happened. There he is. Looks like he just got a little bit sideways up off of turn number 2. Self-cleaning banked straightaway puts him in the inside wall.
John King with a lot of damage to the front end of that race truck. Again, he was coming off of turn 2, got sideways, pointed right to the inside.
Just broke loose with him, Phil.
Yeah,
and
right
you know
by
how
himself.
You've driven here before. You know how easy that is to have happen. These guys will battle that lap after lap, trying to keep these trucks straight up off the corner.
And remember, Casey Kane had to go to the back of the field. This is what Casey Kane saw coming out of turn number 2. Just in front of him, John King sideways. Tonight, step into the wind tunnel as Dave Despain takes your calls, emails, and tweets on the hottest stories in the world of motorsports. This is your chance to sound off and be heard. Wind Tunnel with Dave Despain live tonight. That's 8 Eastern, only on Speed.
And one of our guests on Wind Tunnel is a very happy track promoter, Andy Hillenberg.
Yeah, this place is packed, and what a great job they have done to get the people here to the Rock. Let's go back trackside to Ray Dunlap.
Well, guys, Mike Shiplett will be calling the shots for Casey Kane today. He is his Nationwide Series crew chief. And Mike said, what do you got in that truck? He said, it is really great on the bottom. And Shiplett said, maybe we should pit right now and make one little adjustment. Casey said, absolutely not. I'm moving forward, and I like what you handed me this morning.
And a lot of credit goes to Brad Sweet, who practiced and qualified that truck. Had a great qualifying effort, so a lot of credit to Brad Sweet.
And Brad knows kind of how Casey likes to drive because Brad Sweet drives a lot of his sprint cars for him. So
and
did a great job.
They're the same size. So that helped.
Yeah, which is different from Rudeman, who stepped in after Chad McCumbee had practiced his truck. Those two aren't the same size. Side by side, 2 by 2 as they come back to the line. We will be on lap number 9. Again, it's Nelson Piquet Jr., Jason Leffler now on the inside. Green flag back in the air.
Look at Johnny Sauter, jumps to the inside for a second, has to run across the apron to avoid Timothy Peters.
3 wide behind those guys. They're battling at Rockingham. This is great.
Inside of the first 10 laps of racing of 200, we're already 2 and 3 wide, battling for position. Sideways was the 5 of Pauly Haraki. He gets it straightened back out.
We're going to see that a lot today. Every truck here will be sideways at some point in time.
You can see when we were looking out at Casey Kane's truck earlier to find John King spinning. 2 trucks in front of him were about to spin out as well.
3 wide now as they go through 1 and 2. Joey Coulter was on the inside of the 22. It looks as though
Ross
Chastain bounced off the wall in turn 2.
And Max Gresham might have as well. He made a real abrupt move to the inside.
Got a lot more room exiting turn number 4 than you do at turn number 2. Johnny Sauter peeks to the inside of Timothy Peters. Once again, no room there.
A lot of drivers trying to hug that yellow line here at Rockingham. It's a little rougher down there at the bottom of the racetrack. So a lot of them are trying to figure out where they find the most grip. Here's another look at Ross Chastain on the right, catching the wall coming out of 2.
Just barely.
Yeah, that won't hurt anything. Might have knocked a few watermelon seeds off of it. And watch behind him. Ahead of him. See Gresham? He's about to spin out off turn 2.
Gresham in the 24. Now side by side for position. Timothy Peters on the bottom of the racetrack. On the outside, it's the 3 of Ty Dillon.
It's a battle for the 7th spot. Timothy Peters trying to work the inside on Ty. Remember, Timothy's one of the guys that did the tire test here. Talked to Jason Leffler, one of the other guys. He said he ran over 500 miles over 2 days, Michael.
You know what I love here, Phil? These guys have more power than they need. That's why they're sliding sideways, exiting the corner. They got all that horsepower into the hood, but they don't have enough traction to hook it up. That's a real balancing act for these drivers.
A lot of the crew chiefs were talking about the tire fall off as far as time per lap. They said that after 10 laps, you could fall off at least a second, 20 laps, 2 seconds, and then beyond that, there could be 3-second fall off on these sets of tires.
Well, just look at Johnny Sauter there. He's going to get that position, it looks like, away from Ty Dillon. He was sideways doing it. How many times are you sideways and you're able to make a pass? You're usually losing ground when you're sideways.
James Buescher just behind Johnny Sauter as Sauter trying to get by Ty Dillon in that 3.
Hot Honey's peanut truck down on the bottom.
James Buescher right there with Johnny Sauter. Look at the 3 different grooves there through turn number 4 at the exit.
I love where Johnny Sauter was there, right on the bottom, right on that yellow line. He was able to get a good bite up off the third and fourth turn and grab that spot.
Looking at the inside of Jeff Burton. Now we're riding along with Casey Kane. They are running in the 19th and 20th spot. Jeff Burton moves up to 18th. Starr in 20th. Casey Kane just behind David Starr now.
I like the way Casey's running this race, just taking his time. He knows he's got plenty of time here. We're only 15 laps into this thing. We're going to have at least 4 pit stops.
You watch the back ends of these trucks bounce around every time they go through the turns.
Ride with Casey here. Watch all the activity he's faced with. You see David Stark up the hill. He's bounced around sideways. Truck going up high off turn 2 sideways. Casey's having to take his time because he sees all this, Phil. He knows he can't push it or he'll get himself in trouble.
Casey Kane right behind that 81 of David Starr. Kane trying to make the move on the inside.
That's how he almost won the last Cup race here in 2004. Drove underneath Matt Kenseth, came up just a few inches short.
Just in front of him, Cale Gale in the 33. Trying to work his way around. That 0-8, we talked about Ross Chastain getting into the wall on the right side as he came out of 2. John West Townley in the 0-9 just behind this group.
How about that line? Casey Kane ran through that corner there. All the way on the bottom, left side's down on the line and drove by John West Townley.
And that 81 of David Starr who got sideways coming out of turn number 4. Trying to pull away and run away with this one. The 30 of Nelson Piquet Jr. had never won a pole before yesterday. Gets his pole, and now he has almost a 2-second lead over second place Jason Leffler.
Great battle there for second.
Yeah, now has his hands full as the 88 of Matt Crafton works the bottom of the racetrack, takes second away.
Talking to some of the crew chiefs in the garage here, and they said both the Thor Sport 88 and 13 trucks of
Something wrong with Leffler. Looks like the engine's got a problem.
Leffler on the apron. Looks as though he's coming on to pit road now. So problems with the 18. Smoke coming out of the back of that truck.
What a horrible break for Jason Leffler and this Dollar General team. See him just knock it up in neutral.
Took it out of gear. The engine's not running. He's gliding down pit road. He's going to try to make it to his pit stall. Again, out front, Nelson Piquet Jr. continuing to lead. Leffler was running second until he got passed by Crafton, and then as soon as that happened, something went wrong with the truck, and now he's on pit road.
Really rare. You really just don't see engine trouble much anymore in the series.
So saw him loosening his belts. Ray, what's happening with that truck?
Well, there's a belt broken on the front, and he has no power. They have put the hood down, and Rick Wren taking an examination here, but looks like they're going to push him behind the wall here.
Yeah, Ray, we saw the frustration. Jason Leffler.
It may have been an oil pump belt or something like that that broke. Just listen to it.
Oh. Not like it could have been a rod or a crankshaft or something. Big explosion.
Something important in the bottom there.
Not the way Leffler wanted his day to end. Since the drop of the green flag, it's been Nelson Piquet Jr. out front. He has led all 28 laps. We're on lap 29 here at the Rock, of 200 laps scheduled for this one. Right now, Nelson Piquet Jr. with almost a 5-second lead over Matt Crafton. Is he too hard on his tires early?
I don't know. He's continued to open up that lead as we see some 3-wide racing right in front of him. But, you know, we said experience. You had to have experience here. Nelson Piquet's never raced here before. He did test here. All of the Red Horse teams tested here back in December, so that certainly had to help.
That's a hornet's nest he happened upon. Here's Casey Kane. He's just outside the top 10, driven up on the back tailgate of Joey Coulter. Casey ran a few laps around the top there, trying to see what the truck was like on the high side, but now it's gone back to the bottom.
That's the 4th truck out of the Turner Motorsports. I said Red Horse. It was Turner Motorsports that tested here in December with Nelson Piquet, Miguel Paludo, and Timothy Peters.
Now Joey Coulter just in front of Casey Kane. It seems as though Casey Kane has been methodical about staying on the bottom of the racetrack and just picking trucks off one at a time as he gets to them.
Methodically worked his way inside the top 10 at lap 30, starting in the back of the field and has driven up to the 10th spot. So
I don't think he's done either.
There's about 9 more he's got his sights set on, and the next one is going to be Ty Dillon just ahead in the 3 truck.
I just love that Casey Kane made the effort to be here from Texas. I mean, he could have certainly stayed home and watched this race along with David Ruderman. They made the trip and are in this race.
And we know Casey Kane is an extremely talented driver. He races on Sundays normally. But remember and think about what he's been able to do he's racing for different teams. This is Turner Motorsports he's racing for. He's raced for Kyle Busch Motorsports. So he's won in different equipment, and he looks as though he's one of the strongest trucks again today.
After that race, I talked to Mark Martin, extremely fit man. Talked to Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch. Those guys said, man, that was a tough race. They ran 234 laps of green flag action to finish that race. He gets in his plane, he flies here, and now he's in a race vehicle again today. I know a bunch of those cats are sitting on their couch watching the truck race today.
And how difficult is it behind the wheel here? Because you are constantly fighting a loose race truck.
What I love about this, these lap times, Phil, 27.3 seconds is leading the race. The Cup cars back in 04 qualified down to the 22-second bracket. So you don't have all the G-forces because you're not going totally as fast as you used to. But your arms are going to get a workout because you're going to be turning right as much as you do left.
Close to 2.5 seconds off what the pole was yesterday.
Yeah, already 2.5 seconds. We're 34 laps into this on lap 35, and we've lost 2.5 seconds of what they started this race going.
What did I tell you? Lap 25. Can I have some tires, please? I need them right now.
Ray talked about that as well. What would happen if the caution would come out at lap 25? The ideal scenario would be, because you have 5 sets of tires every 40 laps. Races never work out in an ideal scenario.
Good battle right there. There's the 3 of Ty Dillon leading that group. He's running 7th. Then you've got Justin Lofton in the 6 trucks. Ty Bodine right there in the left of your screen, the 11 truck. And oh, by the way, here comes Casey.
Look down on the bottom.
Bottom of the racetrack, working around that 11 of Todd Bodine. Bodine, again, has won here in the Nationwide Series 2 times, but Casey Kane has never won here. His only Cup start, he was able to finish 2nd in that race, and trying to do better than that today, right?
A little bit loose in, about a 4.5 on loose off for Casey Kane, but what he just said to Mike Shiplet on the radio was, I cannot believe how much wheel input I have to use on this truck through the center. He said, these things are really jumping around out here, but I'm having a ball.
Yeah, that's what race car drive we talked about before the show started. That's what they want. They want to have to drive these babies. Get them a little bit sideways. That's fun.
Ty Dillon on the outside, Justin Lofton just behind him. We saw in the setup earlier, Justin Lofton, Parker Kligerman with a great battle here in the ARCA Racing Series. Lofton was able to claim the championship after Parker Kligerman won the race.
By 1 finishing position throughout the year would have changed that.
And just think about that move into turn 1 on the last lap. He about threw it all away sideways down into the first turn.
We thought one of the favorites would be the 18 of Jason Leffler, but early mechanical problems for them has him in the garage, Hermie.
Yeah, he was our spotlight driver this weekend on speed. Jason had an awesome truck all weekend. What happened, and did you have any warning at all?
The engine started vibrating about a half lap before that. And looked down, and there's no oil pressure, and as soon as it did that, it just blew up. I think it broke a crank, so Dollar General Toyota was really good. I thank all the guys for giving me a good truck. It's a bummer. It's a good race for us, and I just feel bad. So on to the next one.
That's Jason Leffler. Can't describe the feeling that Jason must have. Knows it's a great opportunity, a great race team, and just cannot buy any luck so far this season.
Opposite ends of the emotional spectrum. Everyone with smiles, the electricity, and you can see how dejected Jason Leffler was that he's out of this race now. Nelson Piquet Jr. has a 6-second lead now over Matt Crafton running 2nd. Kligerman, Peters, and Buescher your top 5. American Ethanol Fast Fact. Because ethanol has a higher octane, American Ethanol provided NASCAR an increase of 8 to 12 horsepower in 2011. American Ethanol Fast Fact. Great crowd here at the Rock. Nelson Piquet Jr. continues to dominate. But I'm guessing those tires are getting to be really slick on the 30. He has a 10-second lead over Matt Crafton.
But they're slick on everybody else's truck, too. That's Ron Hornet, a 4-time series champion, and that 9 truck wiggling through turns 1 and 2 that he's about to put a lap down.
Look at Ron. He could barely get that truck off the 2nd turn, and I agree with you, Phil. Nelson is fast, and he isn't sliding around that a whole lot. I don't watch him having his truck all yawed out. He's pretty straight, and he's making time. but it's going to get more and more difficult with each truck he approaches to try to lap him. Ron Hornaday doesn't want to go lap down this early here in Rockingham, and he's going to fight Nelson all he can.
The last time by, only 2 drivers were still running laps under 28 seconds. It was Parker Kligerman and Casey Kane. Casey Kane still looks as though he is methodically moving up. Parker Kligerman was the other one that was able to run under 28 seconds. The 30 of Nelson Piquet Jr., though, still clicking off laps, Ray.
And the big question, Rick, is how long are you willing to leave your drivers out there? So I just went to Chris Carrier, Nelson Piquet Jr.'s crew chief. I said, how long will you stay out if we go green? He said somewhere around lap 70. The driver's not going to like it, so we got to go for it. Hermie?
Well, Ray, we got to give a shout out to Jeb Burton in this 27 State Water Heaters Chevrolet. Now, he's got his dad on the radio with him, that being Ward Burton, who had a lot of success here over the years as well, and is talking about throttle management. That's what he's been telling Jeb about every lap. You can see he's doing a great job slipping and sliding around this racetrack, but he's keeping his composure. Great save right there by Jeb Burton, but he's driven from 27th up to 11th right now, doing a heck of a job for his first time at the Rock.
You know, guys, Ray was talking about Chris Carrier and talking about Nelson Piquet Jr., his crew chief. Remember when Parker Kligerman won that ARCA race in that great battle with Justin Laughlin back in 2009? You know who his crew chief was, right?
I believe it was Chris Carrier.
It might have been Chris Carrier, absolutely.
That truck's hooked up. He has been able to keep his truck down in the 27-second bracket, like you said, Rick. Last time by, 27.99, only truck in the 27s. But he's barely in there.
Right. Ty Dillon on the outside of Justin Laughlin. Those two battling for position. 8th and 9th, the battle between those two.
And for most of the trucks in this field and drivers, that caution cannot come out soon enough. Or their crew chief bring them down pit road for a green flag pit stop. Cannot happen soon enough for them.
Because these guys they've never been this far on a set of tires this weekend. And some of them are thinking, come on, y'all got to be kidding, right? Look at the way that truck.
Yeah, that was Paulie
He about wiped out off turn 4.
Sideways off turn 4 as Ty Dillon makes the pass by him. Justin Laughlin moving to the bottom of the racetrack. And the blistering pace that Nelson Piquet Jr. is setting right now is amazing. There are only 11 trucks on the lead lap. We're 53 laps into this race.
Watch his hands. Watch Ty Dillon trying to wrestle this truck around this corner. As soon as he adds the gas, whoop, got to turn to the right.
A lot of correcting here with that steering wheel.
And this truck is running in the 8th spot, so if you're running in 28th, can you imagine what that steering wheel looks like? It's a lot easier to run good than it is bad.
And we can hear him pedaling the throttle too. You can't just drive down to the center of the corner, jump in the throttle and drive it off. You have to work that throttle as well as that steering wheel.
At the drop of the green flag, everyone with the freshest tires were able to make some good lap times. And then on lap 5, problems for the 7 of John King got him to the inside wall. They brought the caution out, and since the green flag has flown, we have been under green flag conditions, and now the tires have worn to the point where we're running 3 and 4 seconds slower than what they qualified at.
You know, that's what's funny. We have a slick racetrack, probably a slicker racetrack as these guys will ever see, and we've had one caution flag here in 55 laps. The guys just adapt and manage.
That's exactly right, Phil. You have to understand your conditions and stay within yourself, especially early in the race. You can't pitch it away. That's what happened to John King, unfortunately. And everybody, I think, probably looked at that and said, okay, I've got to keep my truck under me so I can work on it and make it better for later.
They're second. Matt Crafton, we were following Nelson Piquet Jr. There is a 12-second gap between first and second now. That's almost a half a lap. Nelson Piquet Jr. almost has a half a lap over second place Matt Crafton.
And he's driving up on the back of the top 10 to start trying to put some of the trucks inside the top 10 a lap down. Amazing run early for Nelson Piquet Jr.
Kligerman running in the 3rd spot right now. He's 13.5 seconds behind Nelson Piquet Jr.
We saw down to about 110 miles an hour in the center of the corner for Parker Kligerman, and he's one of the guys running up in the top 5. He's running 3rd. Look, watch that. 101 miles an hour in the center of the corner.
That's probably, what, 20 miles an hour off what he could do on fresh tires?
At least.
Right back into the throttle, upwards of 145 miles an hour as he enters turn 3.
Battle for 6th right here. Casey Kane has chased down Johnny Sauter. Listen to him feather that throttle.
probably didn't get it wide open, so he's up on top of the hill there, going straight.
Going dead straight. Just easy into the corner here.
It's even worse off, too.
Casey Kane, after starting in the back, has worked his way up into the 7th spot. Stay with us. More racing here on Speed.
Had somebody to turn out the lights.
That's right.
They did that on Saturday or on Friday.
Yeah, tried to, didn't they?
Yeah, pit road has been open. Parker Kligerman came to pit road, 4 tires, a track bar adjustment. His truck has been loose. The 88 of Matt Crafton, solid run for him. He's been second all day long. 4 tires, 1/2 pound down the air pressure, all 4. Ray?
Nelson Piquet said our truck is really, really good, so they went with a slight air pressure adjustment just to tighten him up a little bit. For the 17, he's been pretty happy with his truck. They made a little air pressure adjustment also, but Peters went from 4th to 2nd on that round of pit stops.
Thanks, Ray. I don't want to be the downer, but Mike Helton, president of NASCAR, walked into the announcer's booth, and all of a sudden a caution came out. I don't know how that happened, but hey, Mike, thank you so much for joining us here. I know it is a huge thing for Andy Hillenburg to see you and a lot of the executives that were in Texas last night make the trip here to the Rock.
Yeah, I think a lot of the industry's eyeballs are on Rockingham, either in person or on television today, because it's part of our heritage.
Right.
You know, we're proud of our heritage and our roots and from day one. And of course, Rockingham played such a big role in so many years of that it's really more fun today than it's been in a long time to come to a race.
You know, it's amazing. You walk through the garage area, everybody's smiling. You know, everybody in the garage area is just so happy to be here, and so many of the faces just like you that we saw, that we knew were in Texas last night, and they made the trip to be here for this event.
Yeah, and I think it's a tribute to the Rock, but it's also it's in us. You know, we're all race fans at heart, and we know today's a very special day.
Don't you just love it that every time we ask the fans to step up and help us out, they come through, and what a great crowd here. What enthusiasm we have in Rockingham, and we owe them a real thanks, huh?
No, we do, because they really helped Andy put this place back on the map.
Well, Mike, I appreciate you being able to join us here. If you want to help us call the race for a little while, you're more than welcome to.
I'll go take a break, and when we need another caution, I'll come back.
You'll come back? All right. We appreciate that. We had a tweet that came from Denny Hamlin. Obviously, Denny was also busy last night at Texas. I'm going to run the Rock next year in a truck if I have to build one myself. So pretty great social media there from Denny Hamlin. We are back at the Rock. We're under caution. We'll be back for the green flag in just a moment. Wednesday on an all-new Car Warriors, sparks fly when a father-daughter team butt heads over an ambitious plan. And as time runs out, this competition turns into an all-out battle of the sexes. Don't miss an all-new Car Warriors Wednesday night, 9 Eastern, only on Speed.
I like that show.
The caution was for debris. That's what brought our second caution of the day out. Everyone came to pit road on lap 61 for tires and fuel.
And now we're going to have 2 major races, one for the lead of this race, and then about 20 trucks that would like to get back in the game, get back on the lead lap.
A lot of really good trucks, too. Jason White, Ron Hornaday among them.
Try to get that lucky dog. Nelson Piquet Jr. Now it's Timothy Peters that will work on his inside as they come back to the green flag, and it's in the air. Another great start for Nelson Piquet Jr. on that high side.
See Casey Kane up there. He restarted this race in 6th. He's side by side now with Buscher, now going after Kligerman in a battle for 4th.
Uncharted waters for Casey Kane. He's in the middle of the racetrack. We've seen him right down on the yellow line pretty much this whole race up to this point.
He ventured to the top a couple of times to feel it out and made a pass on the high side that time. So I think Casey's going to be a little bit surprised when he does make his way all the way to the front, like we know he will, about what Nelson Piquet has for him when he gets there. But look at Matt Crafton.
Battle for the lead. Nelson Piquet Jr. will give it up to the 88 of Crafton. Crafton takes the lead away from Nelson Piquet.
And remember, these guys have had an opportunity to adjust on these trucks a little bit on that pit stop.
Now side by side for third. Casey Kane on the outside. Timothy Peters on the bottom of the racetrack.
Look at Johnny Sauter. He peeks underneath Ty Dillon, grabs the 5th spot. He wants to join this battle. That's his teammate leading the race.
Ty Dillon just behind him. James Buscher in the 31. Falling back in the 7th spot. So Crafton out in front of the field now at the Rock. Nelson Piquet Jr. running second, Peters third, Casey Kane has taken third away. Problems for Todd Bodine in the 11. It looks as though damage to the right side of that truck.
I think he bounced off the wall, maybe coming off of turn 2 this last time around.
He hit the wall. It's more than a bounce. Boom.
Way up the track, hard into the wall.
Just chasing that truck up the hill. Watch him. He looks to the inside of Coulter.
Can I remind you, he's won two races here at this place, 2 NASCAR races.
And that wasn't the safer barrier. Just after the safer barrier ends, the 11 of Todd Bodine hard into the wall and now on pit road.
Right side. You're going to need more than right side. I think you might need
4600 first gear.
Yeah, I think he's lucky he didn't break a brake rotor as hard as he hit with that right front. You see the cement dust in the wheel, Ray.
And Phil, he just said the steering wheel did move, so he thinks they may have a camber issue there or a toe-in issue or one or the other. So they're going to put right-side tires on it to go out and feel it out, but more than likely they'll be headed to the garage to make adjustments on the front end.
Hard contact with the wall for Todd Bodine and the 11 team. They had just announced that they were having sponsorship through the Charlotte race for Todd Bodine. So an unfortunate incident happening here in the Camping World Truck Series. This is the 3rd race of the season.
You know, you have to wonder a little bit, Phil. Does Casey Kane, after he's fought his way all the way through the field, he's got the leaders in sight now. Does he kind of take it easy on those tires a little bit? You can see PK is very serious about grabbing the lead back. Crafton made a nice move to get the lead, get the bonus point, and looks like PK's fast. But does Casey lay off those tires some?
He knows as good as anybody how you have to save your tires here, and he knew what he had to use them up a little bit at the start of the race because he started so far back, but he made his way well into the top 10. Now he has the leaders in sight. I think if he can comfortably pass them, I think he will.
Yes, exactly. They're setting a pretty fast pace right now, so he's got to keep that in mind.
We went for 53 green flag laps before the caution came out for debris. So a long run on those tires, and it had been 61 laps since the start of the flag, or since the start of the race. So a lot of laps on these tires, and now Casey Kane down to the bottom of the racetrack looking to battle for the 2nd spot, Ray.
And guys, remember I told you he was about a 4.5 on loose off in that Rockwell truck. Well, on that pit stop at lap 61, Mike Shiplett took the track bar down 1 round. Not a real big adjustment, but Casey said it definitely made a difference.
He was the fastest truck that last time around. Johnny Sauter was this time around as he pulls to the back bumper of Timothy Peters in that battle for 4th.
And we still see 2 distinctly different lines out of the top 2. Matt Crafton and Nelson Piquet Jr. running different lines through 1 and 2. Now they're both down at the bottom of the track. Casey Kane all the way to the top of the racetrack in 3 and 4.
These guys just trying to figure out where their truck wants to run. They go in one end. You can run on the bottom if you want. Seems all right. Kind of slick. Let's try the top side. Seems all right. Pretty slick.
Johnny Sauter in the 5th spot. It's Crafton, Piquet Jr., Kane, Peters, and Sauter your top 5. Nelson Piquet had led predominantly the entire race through lap 61 before the caution came out, and Crafton has taken that top spot.
And don't you know it, Michael, that some of these guys prior to that caution coming out, could they believe how slick this place got with 60 laps on the tires?
It makes me so happy that people get to live in our world, Phil. That's the way racing used to be a lot of places, but especially at Rockingham. You're just amazed that your truck could go that sideways that quickly.
Timothy Peters, and right behind him, Johnny Sauter in the 13. They're running 4th and 5th, so Sauter has made it up into the top 5. Busher back in 6th. Then Ty Dillon, Parker Kligerman, Justin Lofton, and Joey Coulter, your top 10.
Matt Crafton sticking right down on the bottom of the racetrack since this restart, really doing a nice job with it. PK has searched around a little bit. He's run the bottom behind him. Now he's in the middle. He's been up top trying to find a little bit more grip.
Going by that 57 of Norm Benning. He's 2 laps down to the field. So the lap times now under 27 seconds. As we talked before, they were over 28 seconds with these tires wear out. Coverage of the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series on Speed is brought to you by Honda Generators, the power of choice. By AutoStop. New AutoStop is foolproof. Gray is over. And by Sleep In. Dream better here. Book now at sleepin.com. Back out in front, it's Nelson Piquet Jr. in the 30. He didn't want anyone else to lead at the Rock, so he took it back from Matt Crafton. Coming into this race, he had only led 67 laps in his entire career. And now Nelson Piquet Jr. back out in front, right?
Rick, Nelson Piquet Jr. just said, I cannot believe how much momentum you can carry on the high side. I love it up there. I don't know why anybody would be hooked to the bottom. The crew chief just asked him, would you like lap times? He said, no, I can feel when they're good, and right now they're great. Hermie?
Well, Ray, Johnny Sauter is up to the 5th position in this 13 truck, but he is not happy with the race truck. He complained on the first pit stop about being too free under acceleration. Well, they tightened the truck up, but they tightened it up too much through the center. So right now they're trying to work with Johnny on different lines on the racetrack. And 3 laps ago, he ran the fastest lap of anybody on the racetrack, but still fighting this race truck through the center of the corner. They're looking forward to getting back to pit road to make some more adjustments.
Thanks, Hermie. Just in front of Johnny Sauter, the 17 of Timothy Peters, his teammate, the 7 of John King, who was involved in the incident on lap number 5, back out on the racetrack.
You know, there's one of the guys we talked about, Michael. Seems like he finishes in the top 10 at least half of his starts. He's made his way up into the top 10. Started back at 17th, but he's taken that Chevrolet up into the top 10 right now.
You know, we heard Johnny Sauter say he didn't maybe like the change they made to the truck and have to change back. It looks like maybe that's the case with Casey Kane as well. As he's gotten his truck to 3rd spot, it just doesn't seem to turn as well as it once did. Remember, he's right down on that yellow line. Now the thing wants to wander up from it. One of the worst feelings you can get in a race vehicle here is it won't turn, then it's sideways. At least Casey's truck earlier in the race was turning and then getting sideways. Now it looks like he's pushing a little bit.
And there's enough of a lack of grip at the exit of the corners here that everyone's going to be sideways off the corner. But if you parlay it, as you mentioned, and when the truck won't turn in the center, that means you turn the steering wheel even more, and that magnifies that problem up off the corner.
Parker Kligerman in the 29, just behind the 3 of Ty Dillon. Those two running in the 7th and 8th spot. Ty Dillon holding on to 7th, Kligerman in 8th. Both of them trying to run toward the bottom of the racetrack.
Justin Lofton, we talked about the battle he and Parker Kligerman had for that ARCA championship. In the finale here, he's running 1 spot behind Parker Kligerman, back in the 9th position.
Joey Coulter just behind them, rounding out the top 10. Good battle of youth in the Camping World Truck Series between Ty Dillon and Parker Kligerman.
Parker's way older at 21. Ty's 20.
Ty 20. But again, Ty trying to do the same thing that his brother has done, move through the ranks. Paulie Haraka, another driver trying to move through the ladder system of NASCAR after running in the K&N Pro Series, closing in on graduating from Duke. And now in that 5, currently running in the 27th spot, Hermie.
Well, Rick, this is an example of how humbling this sport and this racetrack can be. Paulie Haraka qualified 2nd, got off to a pretty good start, but as you can see right here, he has been all over this racetrack fighting grip. No matter where he tries to go on the racetrack, can't find the grip and the security he needs in this truck to keep it up to speed. He's fighting it as hard as he can, and a lot of experience on the radio. He's been spotted today by Curtis Malcolm, who's trying to help him guide him back into contention. Ray?
Hermie, I was saying earlier about Casey Kane's truck being loose off. They made that 1 round on the track bar going down. That should help tighten him up. But he just came on the radio and said, whatever adjustments you gave me, they're not enough. I'm going to need more for sure. And we see that as evident because he has just lost a couple of positions on the racetrack.
Yeah, Timothy Peters was able to get by him in the 17, moved up into the 3rd spot. We saw Casey Kane run way up the racetrack.
Yeah, and Johnny Sauter drove around him now. So not only is it not better, it's like Phil was saying, that truck's worse. One guy that has improved his truck's Jason White. He's running along in the lucky dog position right now. That's been a real battle back there. We talked about all the trucks that are a lap down. He's gotten himself into that position. Casey Kane riding along behind Johnny Sauter. Watch Johnny move around up there.
Casey pedaling that throttle there. As you just like before, really doesn't get wide open until that truck gets straight at the exit of turn 4.
Isn't that, it doesn't really matter how much power you got if you can't push it down, does it? It doesn't do you any good.
We saw him about 7,600 RPMs at the end of the front straight, which we see a little bit more RPM at the end of the front stretch usually. Here now we're going to go up 7,800. These guys returned about 84, 8,500 on good tires. They've lost about 800 RPMs.
The engine's happy. It's like, good, you're not running me so hard today.
So again, Casey Kane, after getting all the way up to the 3rd spot and somewhat plateauing there, now has dropped back into the 5th position. Way up the racetrack, as we saw him earlier running toward the bottom of the track.
Good 1 and 2 right there. A lot of momentum.
But it's been Nelson Piquet Jr.'s day at the Rock. He's out in front. He has almost a second lead over Matt Crafton, Timothy Peters, Johnny Sauter, and Casey Kane.
It's way too loose at 3 and 4, especially on entry. And back to throttle, but that's where I'm giving it up. 10-4.
Wow, look here. Matt Crafton's driven back up to Piquet. Looked like Nelson Piquet Jr. was going to drive away from everyone like he did during the first green flag run, but Matt's got it back.
Saw his truck wiggle a little bit there. That's about the first time we've seen that truck bobble during this race.
Next time by, they will see the halfway sign. Completed 99 laps. This is lap 100 of 200 scheduled. Matt Crafton running second, closed the gap on Nelson Piquet Jr., but now looks as though Nelson Piquet Jr. trying to extend that lead once again.
Jeb Burton had the fastest lap on the racetrack that last time at a 27.60, just a little bit quicker than Piquet's 67.
There's the halfway sign given by the flag person. So Nelson Piquet Jr. out in front. He has led 85 laps already at the Rock. Tomorrow night, get your daily dose of NASCAR excitement on the Hub. Hear from the drivers and get the ultimate recap from Texas. Plus, we'll preview next weekend's racing from Kansas. Don't miss NASCAR Race Hub tomorrow night, 6 Eastern, right here on Speed. Welcome back. Nelson Piquet Jr. out in front of Matt Crafton, and that gap continues to fluctuate. It was a second between the 30 and the 88, and then it went way down to where Crafton was right on Nelson Piquet's back bumper. This is why.
Look at the 92 truck of
David Rudiman. Yeah.
Look at Rudiman trying to hang on to that thing, and Nelson Piquet, he doesn't know whether David's going to be able to or not, so he backs off the gas. Right, immediately Matt Crafton joins him. They're really having a tough time dealing with traffic because of the uncertainty, I think, Rick, not knowing if somebody's going to spin out right in front of them or not.
And we had that long green flag run, 53 laps, just after our first caution came out, and that ended up having just 11 trucks on the lead lap. So 11 trucks battling for the top 10 spots, and then you've got Jason White back there in the lucky dog position right now, battling to hold on to that.
Yeah, and he's got Ron Hornaday heating him up, so there's battles all over this place, just like this one for the 7th spot. You can see Parker Kligerman drives under James Busher, and look, a change for the lead.
Maybe not for long. Crafton gets it for a moment. Piquet fights back on the inside.
Down to the bottom of the track for Nelson Piquet Jr. Up in the middle, the 88 of Matt Crafton. A little bobble out of the 30, trying to catch it as they come back by the grandstand.
And losing no ground while he's sideways like that.
Look at him dive down into turn 1. Matt Crafton will try the crossover move. Can he get to the bottom?
Nelson Piquet able to hold on to that bottom position.
We're side by side battling for the lead, and we're sideways. So we got a lot of things going on here.
And now again, a gap between the 30 and the 88. After these two have switched, who wants to be out front?
I think that 30 truck is looser than it's been all day, and he's hanging on to her, though, and doesn't want to give up the lead.
We got the report during the pit stop, as we're going to watch here, this battle for the lead, that they didn't change anything on the pit stop. Maybe this racetrack's freeing up a little bit more. Whoa.
Way up the track.
Big time loose.
Nelson Piquet Jr.
What about that, though? I lost it in turn 1. I'm going to pass him in turn 3. And that's what he did. He got the spot right back and is holding on to the lead. Shows you the commitment he's gotten, the dedication it takes to go fast here at Rockingham. You've got to deal with a lot of uncertainties, whether it's the lap trucks or what your truck's doing. Always something different happening.
Going by that 08, Ross Chastain. Did we thank them for the watermelon yet?
I don't know if we did or not. The watermelon queens brought us melon.
They brought watermelon to us, and we wanted to say thank you for that, as Ross Chastain is going to go another lap down to Nelson Piquet Jr.
And it was from Florida. Watermelon
from
Florida.
So Nelson Piquet Jr. continuing to go by the slower lap traffic, and that has been able to keep the 88 of Matt Crafton right on his back bumper. Another veteran out there on the racetrack, the 9 of Ron Hornaday running the higher line, Hermie.
Yeah, and what a spirited battle it's been between Ron Hornaday and Jason White. You look at the top of the front of the truck of Jason White. Ron Hornaday has been struggling with this truck all weekend long. Loose, loose, loose is what he's saying right now. He took advantage of some lap traffic to get around Jason White, hoping for a caution not only to fix his truck, but also to maintain that lucky dog, Ray.
And Hermie, with these long green flags, it's really setting up the strategy I talked about earlier. NASCAR has just given these guys set number 5. So here, the extra tires are in the pits. And what the crew chiefs are saying is, let's save this one last set for very late in the race. They could come in as late as with 10 laps to go and get tires and be lightning fast.
I'd say as late as 2 laps to go, right?
I'd say give me a top 10 with 2 laps to go and new tires, I'd be good.
And this is the battle for the Aaron's Lucky Dog. They're fighting it out hard, too. Ron Hornaday just got around Jason White. You can see Jason trying to get it back.
And you can tell Ron Hornaday, as Hermie reported, has his hands full with that 9 truck.
So now Hornaday has the Lucky Dog spot and wants to hold on to that if a caution would come out. And right now, Jason White just lost that spot, Hermie.
Yeah, Jason White's going to have to come down pit road, Rick, in about 2 laps. They did not get his truck completely full of fuel on the first stop. So lap 116, 117, Jason will have to come down to pit road, and then it'll depend on whether or not they get a caution to see whether or not that hurts him long term.
He had a moment right there, Hermie. He about got into the outside wall coming off turn 4 that last time.
Listen to the gas. Watch this truck. You can hear him all out of the gas. Watch it jump sideways.
Just about ran out of room. Nice save by Jason.
So we're hearing Jason White will have to make an early stop as they didn't think they had it fueled. So he makes the hard left turn onto pit road. Nelson Piquet Jr., your leader at the Rock. Saturday, a stampede of horsepower will be unleashed on the open plains as the world's toughest truckers do battle in Kansas. Don't miss the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series live Saturday, 1:30 Eastern, right here on Speed. Back at the Rock, we are under caution once again. This time it's the 3rd caution on lap 122. The 92 of David Rudeman got sideways. And because of that, they decided that they better get the caution out. Everyone backed back down.
He didn't back down.
No.
The 99 of Brian Silas was involved somehow.
See Rudeman up against the outside wall, and it broke his momentum enough that Brian Silas ran in there and ran into the back of him.
Man, that was a tough break for Silas because Rudeman was just trying to hang on to his truck, and Brian couldn't. You know, you can't turn left right there, Phil. He just didn't have the ability to get that truck down under David. Clobbered him. Didn't do a whole lot of damage to the 92 truck, but it tore the 99 of Silas all to pieces.
Nice job of Casey to get in between those trucks after they made the contact.
I love these pit stops. We've seen how much these guys are struggling to keep the trucks going straight. Pit crews are challenged. Pull spring rubbers, lower the track bar, wedge. What are we going to do to get the truck where they can drive it? See who makes the right adjustments.
That is the big question. What adjustments will be made? Who will gamble with tires? We'll be back. Welcome back. Pit road is now open. Let's go down to Hermie Sadler.
Rick, it's been a great day for the Thor Sport teammates so far. Johnny Sauter is in. His truck is too tight in the center. Loose on forward bike. 4 tires, a wedge adjustment, Sunoco fuel. Matt Crafton loves his truck. It'll be 4 tires and no adjustments for the 88. Ray?
Under your screen, you see Timothy Peters' Toyota. He just needs a little bit of security in the center and through turn number 3. They're going to make a wedge adjustment for him. On the right side of your screen, you see our leader, Nelson Piquet Jr. He's in pit stall number 1. They're going to take a half rubber out of the right rear. They take that windshield clean, and Piquet is going to give up the lead, making that adjustment. He will come in as the leader. He is going to go out about 5th. I believe Casey Kane beat him to the line.
Yeah, 4 spots lost for Nelson Piquet Jr. on pit road.
And that's how much time it takes to do those kinds of adjustments. He took a rubber out of the right rear. We were listening to Chris Carrier during the commercial break. They pulled the rubber out of the right rear. That took enough extra time that he gives up the lead, comes out 5th.
That truck was pretty fast like it was.
Pretty strong truck prior to the pit stop. We'll see if the adjustments help. for guys like Casey Kane, who was falling back after that last green flag.
Do it, and I don't have to worry about it.
Welcome back to Rockingham Speedway. We're continuing with the Good Sam Roadside Assistance 200 presented on speed by Ram. How important are the pit stops? Well, our fastest pit stop presented by Auto Stop. We want to take a look. Timothy Peters coming into his pit stall.
Kane comes in third. He's going to go out first. That's the second time that crew has gained spots on pit road on our 2 pit stops.
And you can see that was complete with a chassis adjustment. They went to the right rear there and made an adjustment on the truck. He was able to get away, didn't have to deal with the truck of Justin Lofton coming in and beat Matt Crafton off pit road. Great stop for those guys.
Fastest pit stop just for men, presented by Auto Stop. Hermie.
Johnny Sauter had to make a second pit stop under this caution, Rick. They did not get his truck full of fuel, so he lost track position. He'll be back to the last truck on the lead lap, 11th. He gave up the 4th spot, which would be where he would have started to get his truck full of fuel. So he's got some track position to make up. Ray?
You know, Hermie, I was talking about Casey Kane making a small track bar adjustment. It was just 1 round on the first stop. Well, this time they went 2.5 rounds down to try to continue to help tighten that thing up, and also around a wedge in the left rear. So Casey Kane with some bigger adjustments this time, and he said on the radio, I can't believe these long green flag runs. They're a lot of fun. We've had 2 segments with 60 laps in between pit stops.
Aaron's lucky dog going to the 9 of Ron Hornaday, so he gets a lap back and back on the lead lap. That puts 12 trucks now on the lead lap here at the Rock.
We saw Hornaday battling with Jason White for that lucky dog spot, but Jason had to come to pit road when we have to brake. He got 3 laps down. He took a wave around, got one of them. That truck full of gas. We saw the same thing happen with Johnny Sauter. He didn't get his full, but they came back to pit road.
Yeah, they didn't take that chance of what happened to Jason White. They came back in, take that penalty right now, go to the back of the lead lap line.
See if they can work their way back up into the top 10. They've got a few laps to do it in. 73 laps to go. When they get back to the stripe, it'll be 72 laps remaining.
And they've called, the drivers have called their crew chiefs and said, now tell me how many more tires I got left.
How many more can I get?
I got 2 more sets. I want them both at some point during this race, please.
If we go green till 10 laps to go, put them on then. And if there's another caution with 2 to go, put the other set on then.
They told them they're going to go around one more time. Lights came back on the pace truck. Randy Kaiser driving that.
Great crowd here at Rockingham. A beautiful day. So much fun.
Kim Lopez letting them know that they'll go around one more time before the green flag will fly here at the Rock.
The lights are still on. Oh, there went off. They turned the lights off, so they are coming back to the green.
As a driver, Michael, you want to go fast immediately because you got the best tires. But at the same time, you've got to think in the back of your mind, I can't wear my equipment out early.
But we've seen the charging method work. We saw PK Jr. out front the whole race. Matt Crafton chasing them down. Both those trucks are good handling trucks. They are abusing their tires somewhat, but these Goodyear tires, while they give up, they're tough. And so evidently they're not pushing them too hard because they've been able to maintain that lead.
And we didn't see anybody make a charge from third. We saw Matt Crafton able to stay with PK that time, but nobody made a charge from outside that top 2 towards the front.
And the lights came back on. It looks as though they're trying to get the 11 of Todd Bodine back into the garage area. And so while they do that, we're still under caution. Let's head back to the Charlotte studios. I believe Adam Alexander is hanging out back in the Charlotte studios for a quick Speed Center update. And welcome back. Thanks, Adam. As the field making its way out of turn number 4, green flag goes back in the air. Timothy Peters, Matt Crafton side by side at the stripe.
And Casey Kane, he may want to take a peek at this lead here.
You know, he saw, Rick, if he was trying to lay back a little bit, it didn't help because those 2 drove away from him. He couldn't never rebound. So watch Casey to be a little bit more aggressive this restart.
Timothy Peters was your race leader when they came back to the stripe, but it was the 88 of Matt Crafton with the better start on the bottom of the racetrack that was able to take the lead away from Timothy Peters. And now Casey Kane wants to get second away from Timothy.
Got a great battle for a second. Casey's going to jump to the outside. He was on the inside of Timothy the last lap. Now they swap those positions. How about Ty Dillon now running in the 4th spot?
Just behind him, the 31 and the 30. Teammates battling it out. James Busher on the bottom. Nelson Piquet Jr. up top. Nelson Piquet Jr. after leading so many laps now has fallen back. 107 laps led by Nelson Piquet Jr. in this one.
Remember, Chris Carrier made an adjustment on that truck. We'll have to wait and see. If it will look like Max Gresham may have bounced off the wall again off of turn 2. Now Johnny Sauter is going to drive by him on the inside.
And remember, Johnny Sauter came back onto pit road to fill that thing back up with fuel, so it lost him some spots. He's working his way back up to the front now. Sauter restarted back in the 12th spot. Crafton, Peters, Kane, Dillon, and Busher your top 5.
Max Gresham, Phil, like you said, wow, he about took a ride off turn 2 over there. That's the 3rd or 4th time that wall has snuck up on him. You can see Piquet getting to the bottom of Busher there as they come off turn 4, and Piquet will grab that spot. His truck is, if it's going to handle better, he's going to have to get through some traffic to figure it out. Anytime you got 3 or 4 trucks in front of you, the air off of those trucks, the turbulence, it makes your truck a little bit different anyway, but he's got such a fast truck. As he makes his way past these other guys, he gets up toward the front, he'll be able to see if indeed those changes have helped that thing.
Look at the distance now. Matt Crafton is put between he and Timothy Peters. A second between the top 2. Casey Kane running in the 3rd spot. Ty Dillon, Nelson Piquet Jr. your top 5.
Just outside the top 5 now James Busher. He lost that spot to Piquet a few moments ago.
Just heard won't turn.
Sounded like Johnny Sauter, didn't it?
Miguel Paludo in the 32 on the outside of David Starr. Starr able to get by Miguel Paludo.
That's a battle for the lucky dog spot.
You can see Sauter right there behind Jeb Burton. Jeb's up the hill a little bit, and Johnny will try to get to the inside and take that spot. That's a battle for the top 10.
You know what a nice job Jeb Burton has done. I was talking to Chris Showalter, who works with that team. He said that's the first time Jeb's ever been over 100 miles an hour in a car was when he came into Rockingham.
But we love the job he did at Martinsville, right? He got out there. He was very aggressive in practice, but when the race started, he got bounced around a little bit, kept his cool, and was able to soldier home to a top 15 finish. So 13th up at Martinsville was a great finish for your debut.
You mentioned the name Chris Showalter. This is the 48th different track that the Camping World Truck Series has come to. And Chris Showalter has been there for every single one of them, every race. As a matter of fact, this is the 49th truck race that's been held on a Sunday, and 13 of the previous 48 have been won by first-time winners. Well, now we've got Crafton, Peters. Both of them have won here. Dillon has won in the, Kane has won in the Camping World Truck Series, but Ty Dillon still to win in this series.
Has he been listening to Russell, you think, a little bit?
What did he just say?
I got numbers swimming in my head.
Statistics. We've got to give you the statistics.
Well, 13 of 48 isn't that big of a statistic, if you ask me.
It was written on the sticky note, though, and you've got to use it.
Oh, it is? Russell's saying it is.
How about Casey Kane now looks under Timothy Peters, trying to grab that second spot away. Good run through the center. Can he hold that momentum? He does.
Casey Kane takes the spot away from Timothy Peters. So Kane up into second. This is the highest he has run today.
And there's the guy that was the class of the field early, Nelson Piquet.
Yeah, we saw him pass Busher a few moments ago. He's lost that spot back.
So James Busher back in front of Nelson Piquet Jr. now.
You wonder if maybe he got sideways again, Phil. We've seen people struggling with keeping their trucks straight. He might have about lost that baby again.
There's Johnny Sauter just in front of Joey Coulter. Now Coulter running in the 11th spot. Just lost a spot to Johnny Sauter, running 9th now. So Sauter back up into the top 10.
Looks like Sauter said he wouldn't turn, but he's making some good progress. He's driving up on the tailgate of Justin Lofton. You can see Lofton's truck won't turn, then it's sideways. That's what I was talking about. It pushes in the center, and all of a sudden it's out from underneath you on the exit. Johnny looked like he was handling a whole lot better than Justin Lofton right there.
So that's 8th for Johnny Sauter. Now he moves by Lofton. Does Johnny Sauter speak in code? Because at Martinsville, I'm pretty sure he wanted to load that truck up. Said it was terrible, loaded up, and the next thing you knew, he was battling in the top 5.
I've heard him speaking in code before.
I think it's code that he talks about, because he just talked about this truck won't turn, and he's getting ready to break into the top 5.
Well, Johnny has enough experience here that he knows what that truck needs to do, and he's trying to get Joe Shear to get him there. He's got a good truck. He's got a top 5 truck. Obviously, he was running in the top 5 most of the race until he had to come back down pit road on the caution to top it off with fuel. So he needs Joe Shear to try to help him get that thing to turn a little bit better.
Nelson Piquet got around Busher again, and now he's getting ready to grab the spot away from Ty Dillon, racing up toward the 4th spot right there. Ty's done an awesome job again. Let's not forget this young man, new to this series. He's been amazing in the races we've watched him so far, and another solid run in the top 5. What about that race at Martinsville? He was lost on Friday. He got found on Saturday, run 2nd.
You know, one of the things he did Friday night, Michael, he watched an onboard camera tape from Johnny Sauter when Johnny won last year, and he spent all night Friday night watching that onboard camera tape of Johnny Sauter's, and look what he did on Saturday during that race.
Along with his crew chief. His crew chief worked with him. They talked about what they were seeing and tried to understand what he could be doing differently, and I'll be darned, 2nd place finish.
And Kevin Harvick helped him a lot. Not only did he get in his truck on Friday and help him with the setup, he helped talk and Ty about that racetrack.
A lot of learning to be done by Ty Dillon, but he's got a lot of races still in the 2012 season.
Now, Phil, I know you understand this, but if these guys went down in the corner, let off the gas, went around to where it was time to put the gas down and just floored it, they would all spin out.
Every single one of them.
Everyone would spin out. These guys are just, it's a balancing act. It's a dancing act between the hands and the foot, trying to give it all the gas you can and keep the wheels going straight.
You do a lot of steering at this racetrack with a throttle. Not only, sometimes the tires get so slick, it won't respond to the steering wheel. You have to steer it with a throttle, and that takes experience to a large extent.
Which drivers like a Casey Kane, who has a lot of experience in sprint cars on dirt tracks, do that all the time. So there is one of the reasons why Casey Kane is so good at a racetrack like this after never driving a truck on this track before.
And Matt Crafton has so many starts in the trucks, no matter where you put him, he's pretty comfortable. He understands what he's got. Now, PK, that's an interesting story. Where did he learn to hang on to something like this? But he's been amazing so far.
Probably not Monaco or somewhere like that.
Ron Hornaday, we saw him get the Aaron's Lucky Dog, battled Jason White forever for it, grabbed it from Jason, and now he's trying to turn that into some sort of performance here today. The truck just hasn't been fast. He's back in 12th right there. Watch Ross Chastain right in front of him. Oh, contact.
Ross got a little bit loose, as did Ron Hornaday as he tried to turn under Ross.
Bouncing all over the racetrack. We talk about the bouncing, the rough surface. Is this the type of racetrack that you like? As a driver, is this the type of track you want?
Every one of them is sideways, hanging on. Watch these two. They're while it's going on, it's the coolest thing ever, and that's so fun. And again, I think something that makes it really fun is these lap times we're looking at. These guys are able to be they're finessing the trucks around. They're hanging on to them when they're not wanting to do what they want them to, and it's a ball. I love it. I'm like Denny Hamlin. I want to race. Give me something. Let me try. I don't want to drive it if Denny builds it though. You don't know what he's doing, does he?
I'll let you go with that. You just called Denny Hamlin out.
I think Denny heard that too, by the way.
Doing. Nelson Piquet Jr. led a lot of laps early. Now in the 4th spot, Crafton out front. Welcome back. New leader at the Rock. Casey Kane has been able to get by the 88 of Matt Crafton. We'll show you how he did it.
He's been chasing down Matt Crafton. Been using the high side. You see him go up there in the center of 1 and 2 to get a little bit of momentum. And watch the run he gets coming off the corner.
Hello, Matt.
Goodbye, Matt.
And just about clear, and does clear him by the time they get to turn 3. Watch this now. This is when it's fun.
Not for Matt Crafton.
Probably not.
So Casey Kane out in front. Matt Crafton led 40 laps before relinquishing the top spot to Kane. He's led 4. Peters has led 7 laps, and Nelson Piquet Jr. 107 laps. So Nelson Piquet Jr. will be credited with leading the most laps at the Rock.
Right now, Nelson Piquet Jr. finds himself about 4.5 seconds behind Casey Kane.
He is still fast, though, Phil. And like I said, once he cleared some of those trucks that were in front of him, it does a couple of things. Your truck handle's a bit different because of the turbulence off of the other trucks, but then also your line. They're taking your line away. You got to pick your way through them, lose that ground. Once he's got it sorted out, the last time by, Nelson Piquet Jr. was the fastest truck again. So it'll be interesting to see if he can put a charge on Casey Kane.
You know, we're 41 right now, 40 laps to go. We last pitted on lap number 123. That's right in their pit window at 77 laps. I think probably most of the guys are very, very close on making it on fuel. Some maybe not so close. We know Johnny Sauter has a couple laps extra fuel because he had to come back in and top off a couple laps later. So he's got a couple lap cushion over the rest of the field.
When we talked about Johnny Sauter doing that, not taking a chance, the guy that did take the chance was Jason White. They stayed out, had to pit under green. Caution comes out. He had to pit again under green now. So he's found himself 4 laps behind. So Jason's day was ruined on pit road today.
Yeah, just by not getting that thing full of fuel.
And you don't know why it didn't get full, but it just didn't, and that was a mistake that cost him.
You mentioned pit road. With just 39 laps to go in this race, every team should have 2 sets of tires still on pit road that they could use if the caution would come out. Now with just 38 laps to go, will you have an opportunity to change the tires twice?
Give them to me. Give them to me. Yeah. Throw the caution and give them to me.
I want to see those stickers on those tires flapping.
Ty Dillon has a mirror full of the 13 of Johnny Sauter now, riding along with the 23 of Jason White on fresher tires.
Yeah, fresher tires. That's about 25 laps less on the that he has on his tires, and you're gonna see what 25 laps means right here on a couple trucks that are running up towards the top 5.
Yeah, and Jason's 4 laps down in 25th, and that's how much faster those tires are making his truck.
See Caleb Holman on the inside of the 75 truck, the Food Country USA truck.
Caleb's only 3 laps down in the 23rd position. I've been impressed with him today. Made running high on the racetrack, but really doing a nice job.
First start of the year for Caleb. We're going to schedule to run several races in that Food Country truck.
Are those peanuts on that truck?
They are.
They are.
Hot honey.
Hot honey peanuts.
That's kind of cool.
Guys that are running better than
we look at Jason.
Expected. Is there anyone that stands out? Nelson Piquet Jr. obviously a great story, but
I'm amazed with the job Jeb Burton has done. Only his 2nd ever Truck Series start on a very, very difficult racetrack as we see a good battle shaping up for the 2nd spot with Matt Crafton and Nelson Piquet Jr. But Jeb Burton here, now the lineage is good. His dad's won in the Nationwide Series as well as the Cup Series, and his uncle Jeff, I know, won in the Cup Series. So the lineage is good, but he's doing a super job here for that youngster.
Yeah, he started in the 27th spot, so he's been one of the few guys that have been able to drive, other than Casey Kane, drive up to the top 10 and stay on the lead lap. Great job for him. I heard his mom was pregnant with Jeb when Ward won a race here. So that's pretty cool.
Piquet Jr. running 2nd, right?
He just made that pass on Crafton, and Chris Carrier, his crew chief, told him the adjustments that I made on that last pit stop are going to help you very deep in the run. And Nelson just said, should I push it yet, or should I just maintain my pace? And they said, no, Casey Kane is spreading it out. Let's start pushing it. So obviously Piquet has put the pedal down. He moves back to 2nd.
Moves to 2nd. He's got a 5-second deficit that he's going to have to overcome if he wants to catch up to Casey Kane. And not only that, but he's got the slower lap traffic that he's got to deal with as well.
But you know, I think there'll be another caution, Phil, and they get some tires on these things. And if that adjustment pays off that the team made, then you got to give them a lot of credit. They took a risk, a bit of a risk, lost some track position. But if that thing's right at the end, that could be the key to victory.
But if they put tires on, is that going to negate that change?
Right, because he said the longer the run, that is what the adjustments we made that will help. Side by side, 88-92, but Crafton holding on to the 3rd spot. Getting ready to run all out in America's heartland as NASCAR Fast Friday on Speed Sizzle. Over 5 hours of live action-packed coverage from Kansas. It all begins Friday at 1:30 Eastern, right here on Speed. You'll see final practice for the Camping World Trucks as the caution has come out. 26 laps remain in this race.
Oh, I think everybody's happy about that.
Yes, they are. Maybe with the possible exception of Casey Kane. Even though he had a 4.5-second lead, I know he probably wants new tires too.
There might be one group of people that weren't too happy about this caution, and that would be Casey Kane and his team. But
now a lot of pressure goes on the crews. They have got to get these drivers back out in the positions they're on right now on the track.
Hey, laps are running out now.
That's right. We're getting down to it.
So the crews will ready themselves up on the wall.
Timothy Peters' crew has been on it. He's gained spots both times, got him the lead on our last round of pit stops.
Timothy Peters currently running in the 5th position. It's Casey Kane, Nelson Piquet Jr., Matt Crafton, James Busher, and Timothy Peters, your top 5. And Ty Dillon, Johnny Sauter, Parker Kligerman, Joey Coulter, and Jeff Burton, your top 10. The Aaron's lucky dog goes to David Starr.
That'll give us 13 trucks on the lead lap.
Give David a shot at a top 10 finish, too.
Lofton, Hornaday, and Starr will be the final 3 that will be on the lead lap.
We need our best stop of the day here, boys.
We need it. This is the money stop right here.
We're not going to pull any spring rubbers. We might do a little wedge, but I'm not even sure about that. Let's make sure
air pressure. Let's do air pressure if we have to do anything.
I like that, crew chief.
Field is all caught up to the pace truck. We'll see if NASCAR opens pit road this time by. Being told that they will. So we'll see Casey Kane dodge hard left as he comes off of turn number 4. Make his way onto pit road. Again, 4 tires, fill it full of fuel. You've got what you've got, guys.
Yeah, most racetracks we would go to, some we would consider 2 tires. Not here.
Hermie Sadler.
Well, Rick, James Busher has driven from the 16th position up to a top 5 here. His truck's been a little bit on the loose side. They're going to take 4 tires, a little bit of an air pressure adjustment, get him back on the racetrack, try to gain a few spots on pit road. The 88 of Matt Crafton. Matt said he may have jumped out too fast at the beginning of that last run and burned his right rear tire off. 4 tires, only 1 can of fuel. They want to keep some nose weight in the trunk for the end of the race. Ray?
They are going to put a little bit of fuel in Casey Kane's truck. Mike Shiplett said, keep in mind we may have to go green, white, checkered here, so that'll affect your balance just a little bit. The number 30 of Nelson Piquet is going with 4 tires. They're going to have at a half a pound into the right front to try to help him roll through the corner a little bit. The 3 of Dillon is in right there. Kane will be the first off pit road. 30 goes second, and James Busher is going to advance in the field.
Timothy Peters gains another spot, and Matt Crafton is a loser. He loses 2 spots.
Now a huge question here. Casey Kane, first off of pit road. He will decide outside or inside. Does he decide inside? Is that the fastest way around this track?
I think so.
We've seen Nelson Piquet Jr. start on the outside and blow away the guys on the inside. And now we're hearing from NASCAR 30 of Nelson Piquet Jr. too fast exiting.
Huge mistake.
Yeah, that's hard to believe because the 30 is in the very first stall. You wouldn't think there was that much room between that first stall and the end of pit road.
As the track is laid out, he's actually in the number 2 pit stall because number 1 was taken up by one of our cameras. And so he did have a little bit more room to get to that line.
That meant he was up to speed when he went across the next to the last scoring line, Phil.
Let's take a look here. You see he hasn't crossed the scoring line yet.
There's a scoring line. There's another one.
Yeah.
He went too fast in that last section, and there was no need to. That's the irony of it. Casey Kane had the lead. He had second locked up. He just needed to idle out onto the racetrack. No need for that mistake.
Experience. Goes back to experience, as you mentioned, Michael. No benefit whatsoever to speed in that last segment.
There's the 2 lines we're talking about.
And the teams know these lines. They understand the rules, and they know where they're painted up, how they're laid out, and go over them closely. So,
and NASCAR gives them a schematic of where the timing loops are before they even come to the racetrack. So an unfortunate situation for the 30 of Nelson Piquet Jr. Casey Kane will lead him back to the green field. Welcome back. Good Sam Roadside Assistance 200 presented by Ram on Speed. The final 20 laps of racing about to happen at the Rock. Casey Kane will bring the field back to the green flag because of the speeding penalty off of pit road. Now Nelson Piquet Jr.'s teammate, James Busher, will be on the outside of row number 1 to come out of turn number 4 for the green flag once again. It goes in the air. The fans are on their feet. We're back to racing at the Rock.
Casey Kane does indeed pick that bottom lane, Rick. James Busher's going to see if he can do something with him on the outside. Good run for James through 1 and 2.
Good run for Casey as well. James looks to the inside for a second. Nothing there.
2 Turner Motorsports trucks running 1 and 2 as they battle for the 4th spot behind them.
We know with just 20 laps to go, these guys can abuse these tires about as much as they want.
Nelson Piquet Jr. restarted. He was 13th when the flag flew. Can he battle from that position to get back up to the front?
Remember, he was behind not only the lead lap trucks, all the other trucks because of the speeding penalty.
He's at the tail of the field. Now, a long way to go. There's still some.
He needs another caution to even have a shot at getting into the top 10, possibly.
The 32 trucks are running, so that tells you what kind of task he's up against. You're right. Another caution. Maybe he gets his track position back and get him into the side of the top 10.
At the beginning of the show, Ray Dunlap mentioned he thought that this was the race that Turner Motorsports gets their first truck win. Well, right now, they've got both barrels full. Casey Kane and James Busher running 1 and 2 up front. The battle continues between the 17 of Timothy Peters and the 13 of Johnny Sauter.
Another battle, right behind them was the RCR battle.
They're racing for 4th, and then right behind them, as you mentioned, that RCR battle going on.
Parker Kligerman got in the middle of that RCR battle.
I was going to say Casey Kane isn't going anywhere either. Guys, he can't shake James Busher or Matt Crafton. Great battle here at Rockingham.
Paulie Haraka in the 5. The yellow stripe on the back of that truck, and the 9 of Ron Hornaday on his outside. There's Casey Kane in the gap between he and teammate James Busher. Again, Busher got his first NASCAR win to start off the season at Daytona, but it wasn't in the trucks. It was in the Nationwide Series.
Kligerman on the inside of Coulter now in a battle for the 6th position. Ty Dillon right behind, right now running 8th.
Kane, Busher, Crafton, Sauter, and Peters your top 5. Kligerman, Coulter, Ty Dillon, Justin Lofton, and Jeb Burton your top 10. Hornaday, Piquet Jr., and David Starr. The final 3 trucks on the lead lap.
Man, I'm glad Joey Coulter is giving Kligerman a lot of room on the bottom. Parker's diving into the turn and sliding up, and Joey's anticipating it. How about that battle right there for the 6th spot? 4 of them lined up.
Jeb Burton joins that battle as well. He pulls to the rear bumper of the 6 of Justin Lofton.
Really impressed with Jeb. He's done a great job learning these trucks. It doesn't hurt having a guy that's won here who happens to be your dad on the radio helping you through it.
And State Water Heaters helping them make it to each track week by week. Joey Coulter, Parker Kligerman running 6th and 7th. Just behind him, Ty Dillon, all in a line for position. Justin Lofton.
Look at Ty down on that yellow line trying to work his way closer to Parker Kligerman, and way down on the bottom of the racetrack goes.
That was Jeb, I believe.
Jeb. Is he going to get around Tim George Jr.?
Tim George is a lap down right now. He's actually being shown 2 laps down, so that is not a battle for position. But this is right here, Ty Dillon going after Parker Kligerman.
Dillon on the inside, Kligerman on the outside, running right in the middle of the racetrack. Parker Kligerman trying to find that grip. Ty Dillon gets the advantage as they come out of 4.
The 2 drivers that have won ARCA races here in the last few years right there battling, Ty Dillon and Parker Kligerman, and the guy that clinched the championship right behind him, Justin Lofton.
I like the way that 3 truck's looking right now. Look how low he's able to keep the thing, Phil, and it's not sliding out from underneath of him either. It looks like some great adjustments by that team, and Ty's driving the heck out of it here in the closing stages.
Just 11 laps of racing to go when the leader crosses the stripe. Casey Kane, James Busher, your top 2.
How about a weekend for Casey Kane? He finished his 3rd Friday night in the Nationwide Series. He finished his 7th last night in the Cup Series, and he comes here and he's winning about 10 1/4 laps of maybe winning a truck race at Rockingham.
And it's his birth week, and he needed a lot of good things to happen. It's been a struggle so far this season, and had a birthday this past week, and now a lot of good things have happened. Look at this truck, so fast, up underneath the 27.
Take a look at what Jeb Burton just did in the 27.
That's why he came so low as he down through the front straightaway. We caught him, a glimpse of him just past the start-finish line, and he was way down on the bottom. A little bit of contact there between him and Tim George, and another wiggle.
He needs to calm down and get this thing to the checker.
There's Paulie Haraka. He's made his truck better. He's being shown a couple laps down. That 9 truck, Ron Hornaday, is a battle for position with Jeb.
Michael, you had mentioned Casey Kane needs some good things to happen for him. Well, all he has to do is get into a truck, because he's started. This is his 5th truck race he's ever started, and in the previous 4 he's won 3 and finished 2nd in the 4th one.
What happened in that one?
Unbelievable statistics for Casey Kane, and he could add another win today if he stays out front for the next 8 laps.
There's the ARCA championship battle we saw back from 2009. Right here revisited in the Truck Series with Parker. Ooh.
Running the same.
How about PK now? Is he on a mission or not? Did he bounce off the wall there trying to get by Lofton?
Did he slow down any when he did?
I don't think so. We talked about him needing a caution to get back in the top 10. He's already back to 9th. That's how fast that truck is.
Nelson Piquet Jr. clicking off laps under 27 seconds a lap, trying to get to the front, but the laps continue to wind down for Nelson Piquet Jr. Just 7 laps to go. Casey Kane with a 0.8 of a second lead over teammate James Busher.
Watch PK here drive underneath Kligerman.
Holy cow, that's a fast truck. You can't hardly do it any better than that. Stuck to the bottom of the racetrack, made the move.
I thought it looked like he might have bounced off the wall as he was trying to go by Justin Lofton here. He didn't have a whole lot of room there. You see the black mark. He did touch that wall.
And he still made the pass.
Still made the pass, and still was a faster truck on the racetrack.
Guys, with just 5 laps to go, how disappointed is Nelson Piquet Jr. with what he did on pit road?
You know, I have to ask the question, whose fault was that? Did Nelson clearly know where the timing lines were? Did the team let him know that he could speed out of the pit? Or did they say, go, 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 you can't be caught? That would be the question I'd want to answer, because it's somebody's fault. I just don't know which party it is.
But it comes down to it, he was going to either restart second or at the back of the field, and he had to start at the back of the field for speeding off pit road.
And at the end of the day, as a race car driver, that's one of the race. You know, this race he had a shot at, certainly had a shot at, dominated the early portion. You never forget those.
Lap after lap, the fastest truck this late in the going, and not have a chance to win.
Down to the final 4 laps. Casey Kane has a 1-second lead over James Busher. Kane looking to make it 4 wins in the 5 starts in the Camping World Truck Series.
Only thing could change that now is if the caution flag were to come out, and then some people would come to pit road to get tires.
The possibility does exist. Tires are so important at Rockingham Speedway. 3 laps of racing to go.
Casey Kane's thinking, no caution, please. It's been a good week for me. Let's just go ahead and finish it off.
Down to the bottom of the racetrack, Ty Dillon trying to hold on to that 7th spot.
Chasing Joey Coulter. We talked about Joey, Mr. Top 10.
Yeah, how about that 30 truck that's stalking him right now?
Coming into this race, John King was your points leader on lap 5. He has problems, hits the inside wall. Timothy Peters moves into the points position lead, and Timothy Peters now running in the top 5 here at the Rock. 2 laps of racing to go. Casey Kane, James Busher, Matt Crafton, Johnny Sauter, and Timothy Peters. This is exactly what Thor Sport Racing needed for their 2 trucks. Crafton and Sauter running 3rd and 4th right now as the final lap happens at the Rock. The first time the Camping World Truck Series have ever been to this historic racetrack. And it's Casey Kane who has been dominant since the halfway point. Nelson Piquet Jr., after a valiant effort to start the race, battling back, trying to get into the top 5. It won't happen. Out of turn number 4, Casey Kane will win at the Rock.
Way to go. Good job, Mike.
Here comes Nelson Piquet. Can he get around Ty Dillon? He's going to make it. Roughed him up a little bit, but grabbed that spot on the last lap.
Nelson Piquet Jr. running possessed after that final restart. Gets back into the top 7. Passing Ty Dillon coming out of turn 4.
Casey Kane did what he came so close to doing in 2004. Just by a few inches, he lost that last Cup race here in 2004, and he wins when NASCAR comes back.
And he also did what he came so far to do, which was from Texas to Rockingham to win the inaugural NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race here in in this wonderful historic racetrack.
He's trying to do a burnout, but his tires are worn out already. And we've only run 20-some laps on these tires.
They're going to be worn out for sure now. Fans on their feet, cheering one of the stars of NASCAR who came down here and put a whooping on them.
And again, you applaud the efforts of Casey Kane, but we really have to applaud the efforts of Andy Hillenburg and the people that worked here at the Rockingham Speedway to make this happen.
And all of Richmond County, they all combine here to make this thing happen.
And a happy crew chief standing by with Ray Dunlap.
And that would be Mike Shiplet. And congratulations, you're in victory lane with Casey Kane. But I have to tell you, in that second segment of this run, he wasn't happy with the truck. How confident were you that you guys could get it dialed in for him?
Well, we knew we were going to be better. We were on scuffs that run. We just had to keep tightening the truck up, just a little loose. We did the same adjustment twice in a row, and we had exactly what we needed to get that Rockwell Chevy up to the front.
The very first win for Turner Motorsports here in the Truck Series. Shiplet will go down as crew chief, and we're off to victory lane to meet Casey Kane.
Casey Kane is going to continue to celebrate for all of the fans that have shown up here at Rockingham Speedway. We'll be back to hear from him in just a moment. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series is presented on speed by Ram Trucks. Guts, glory, Ram. Brought to you in part by Honda Generators, the power of choice. And by Camping World and Good Sam. Everything for the RV lifestyle, including RVs, accessories, warranties, insurance, and roadside assistance. The confetti is flying in victory lane. The first time a Camping World truck has ever pulled into this victory lane, and it's driven by Casey Kane as he climbs out of the truck. Let's go to victory lane.
Well, first big victory for Turner Motorsports. The confetti is flying here. And Casey Kane had a good weekend in Texas, but get the Gatorade shower going here. Casey, when you come to these races, obviously with the stats that you've already accomplished, you're expected to win, but how confident were you that you could do it from the back today?
I wasn't sure. I knew I'd have a good truck. Brad Sweet qualified 5th. All the guys at Turner Motorsports put a couple really good days in, and it sounded like the truck was fast. So, SC Chevrolet, and man, I was coming up through there and I was loose, and we adjusted that first time and got it better, and then the second time we kind of doubled up and got it really good, especially those last couple laps. So
they're saying, how about your helper here, huh?
Yeah, thanks to Steve Turner for giving myself and Brad Sweet an opportunity to do this. James Bush was right there too. So this is a big win for everybody at Turner Motorsports, and feels good to come back to the Rock and get a win.
Any more races on the schedule for this year?
Not yet, but before the race, Steve said if we want to do more, he's up for it later in the year.
I have a feeling they may do that, guys. Casey Kane in victory lane as the trucks come to the Rock. Hermie?
Well, Nelson Piquet, if they gave the award for the driver that passed the most trucks, you would get that easily. But tell us about the speeding penalty to put you in the back of the pack at the end of the race. Did you know where you were speeding, or how did you get the news to you?
Well, they told me, obviously, but I knew I was going to be in the limits. I had to try to gain a position and get back to the lead for the start of the race, and obviously I went a bit too much, but I mean, it happens. I mean, I'm new here, and I'm still going to learn. I'm still going to do these little mistakes, and then I had to work myself back up, which is a good learning curve. It showed that I know how to work myself up in the grid without putting my truck in danger. Compared to last year, I was having a few incidents a bit too much when I was doing the same thing.
Talk about racing at this racetrack. Obviously, first time a lot of people have been here, including you, to have the kind of truck you had. How do you compare racing here to some of the other racetracks you've been on this year and last year?
Well, I think the good thing about Rockingham is that the tires fall off, and you have to drive, you have to race these trucks a lot. In the whole race, you're on the edge, and I think that's what makes a real race. I'm really happy. It has been a great race. It's a great racetrack, and I wish we had more of these.
That's Nelson Piquet Jr. He battles back to finish 7th.
Yeah, Hermie, 107 laps led by Nelson Piquet Jr. A speeding penalty coming off of pit road took him out of contention of winning here at the Rock. The trophy goes to Casey Kane. Confetti in the air and a big smile on his face.
In the air, and the Subway 400 is underway.
Stand behind you, stand behind you. Close out, close out. All clear, clear all the way.
Stinson with a hornet's nest in the rear view mirror, but a car length in hand over Casey Kane and Jamie McMurray.
Kane is on the move, going for the win at Rockingham.
At the line by inches is Matt Kenseth.
1/100th of a second.
Casey Kane has now raced twice in NASCAR at the Rock. His average finish, 1.5. In the Camping World Truck Series, his average finish, 1.2. 5 starts, 4 wins for Casey Kane. A Ram's guts and glory today definitely goes to that man and what he had to do on the racetrack to get from the back to the front.
Well, how about what he had to do to get to the racetrack? He was in Texas last night, ran 500 miles.
But you had to be impressed with his pace. He just kind of crept his way to the front. He didn't go charging up through there, but when he got there, needed to make an adjustment on the truck. The team did a great job. Look at that action he had to avoid. The team did a great job of putting the truck where he needed to be at the end, and he drove away from him.
Rockingham Speedway, the sights of Casey Kane's 4th win of his career, and for the 4th time, James Busher has come home 2nd in the Camping World Truck Series. He is with Hermie.
Well, James Busher, you come home 2nd in your first ever race at the Rock. You guys started 16th and kind of methodically made your way to the front. I guess at the end you could smell it, but couldn't do much with the Ford.
Yeah, no, we definitely had a good truck all weekend. We unloaded well. Everybody did a good job building this Kawicki Chevy, and you know, we had a mishap in practice, probably one of the only practice incidents. They had to beat the fenders back out, and you know, how about Turner Motorsports? 1-2 finish at the Rock is pretty cool, and coming off pit road, we were 1-2-3, and Nelson was speeding there. So, you know, we weren't, you know, we were top 5 truck all day long, and we made some adjustments at the end that got us better. And I think we were a 2nd place truck at the end, but you know, after that restart, you could just see him slowly pulling away. But you know, better Casey being a teammate win the race than anybody. So if I had to lose to him, it's all right.
That's James Busher. He comes on 2nd to complete a 1-2 sweep for Turner Motorsports.
Thanks, Hermie. Let's take a look at the unofficial results here. Casey Kane once again gets the victory. 2 Chevrolets up top, and then 3 Toyotas in the top 5.
Yeah, 2 ThorSport trucks. Matt Kraft and Johnny Sauter finished 3rd and 4th. And how about Joey Coulter? You talked about at the beginning of the show how consistent, top 10 just about half the time. Another top 10 here.
Also, Justin Lofton, another top 10 finish, strong run. Jed Burton, I love what that young man did today. And if you think about Tim George, Cale Gale, those guys slipped and slid, but they got home in the top 20.
Speaking of slipping and sliding, a lot of these guys, Jason White, one of them, finishes up 24th in this one, and they had a wild ride today.
There's our point leader, John King, back there in 33rd. It's going to drop him out of the point lead. Top 09 with trouble. Finishes 31st.
Celebration continuing in Victory Lane. Casey Kane, after the long trip from Texas, makes it to Victory Lane this weekend. Welcome back. Celebration continuing from Victory Lane. The Good Sam Roadside Assistance 200 presented by Ram. On speed, won by Casey Kane. Johnny Sauter moving up after needing something to happen for his points quest here in the Camping World Truck Series. Finishes in the 4th position. He's with Hermie.
Johnny Sauter, you end up 4th, but that doesn't tell the whole story of your day. You guys were on either side of it setup-wise. Had to come back to pit road a 2nd time and battled your way back to 4th. Tell us how you got all that done.
Yeah, you know, just proud of everybody at ThorSport, first and foremost. So cool to be back at the Rock. I hope the fans enjoyed this. This was so much fun. I feel like this is the race it needs to be. Puts it in the driver's hands, and I feel like, you know, you can actually make something happen. So, you know, just proud of everybody on this Hot Honeys Curb Records Toyota. We battled all weekend long in practice, just couldn't get it right, and we made it really good there that 2nd to last run, and had a little problem on pit road, and just lost a lot of track position, but we were able to get a lot of it back and get our first top 5 of the year. So we've had top 5 trucks every week, and to finally get one, to finish one the way we should have was cool. And my wife and little boy were here, so little Pagey's at home. So all in all, we'll be home in a couple hours and get ready to go to Kansas.
That's Johnny Sauter. He comes home 4th.
Thanks, Army. NASCAR back at the Rock. Take a look at the point standings after 3 races. Timothy Peters now in the lead. He's got a 6-point lead over Justin Lofton.
Yeah, solid season thus far for Justin Lofton. Ty Dillon, his rookie year here, up in 3rd in points. And you know Buscher's going to be a contender. He's in 4th.
Yeah, and outside the top 10, you got those sports trucks. But both Matt Crafton and Johnny Sauter crept their way up inside the top 15 now. And look for them to keep continuing to press up toward the top of the standings.
First race at the Rock, guys, and it's Casey Kane who gets the win. Obviously a very impressive career finish, but what a great show they put on.
It really was. I mean, the whole weekend was such a great effort. You know, we talked earlier, all the smiles in the garage area. It was just awesome being here back at the Rock.
It was definitely well worth coming from Texas to see for me, and I know it was for Casey Kane as well.
A 1-mile racetrack here at the Rock, an extremely difficult track to try to tame. Next week, we go to the 1.5 mile Kansas Speedway, where the Camping World Truck Series continues their quest to find the 2012 Camping World Truck Series champion. Thanks for joining us here. After us, right here on Speed, it is the Grand Prix of China. So stay here, the F1 race.